It's not easy to see how they effectively run the next decade in the Pacific.
I don't disagree with anything you said, and I don't know. I don't know who he trusts on these kinds of.
Who, the president?
I don't know who the president really trusts
McDonough.
on these kinds of strategic
McDonough.
questions.
McDonough.
Yeah.
The young guy.
The young guy. Yeah, but he doesn't.
I read with Valerie Jarrett. There is a woman named Samantha
Power. Yeah. No. Yeah, but he doesn't. There's a difference between who he trusts and who he likes.
Yeah.
So, I don't.
Relationship.
You know, Valerie Jarrett. You know Valerie Jarrett?
Yeah.
She's an idiot.
Yeah. She's?
An idiot.
I don't know her well enough. But I noticed that yeah. I noticed that Obama, he listens to her. His telephone is always open for her. He listens to her. He believes her instincts about politics, about who is against him, who is for him, what's going around, who is cooking what from Chicago to the world.
But it's like, do you think Richard Nixon ultimately cared listened to what B.B. Rebozo thought?
Listen to?
You may not know this name. B.B. Rebozo.
No, I don't remember.
Richard Nixon,
Yeah.
B.B. Rebozo was some kind of business, semi-corrupt business guy who was Richard Nixon's best friend. Mm-hmm. And whenever Richard Nixon went to, Key Biscayne or went to California, B.B. Rebozo was there. Richard Nixon would spend a lot of time on B.B. Rebozo's boat. No. And if B.B. Rebozo wanted something, Richard Nixon was there. No. But I don't think when Richard Nixon was deciding what to do about the
China
war, he was talking to B.B. Rebozo.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the way I think. Valerie Jarrett.
So in this regard, he's probably alone, but he feels, comparing to other leaders that I happened to meet in the last decades, Obama impressed me as an extremely autonomous person.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
He feels good with himself, even when he's alone in the room. I didn't see in him what we know in Clinton or in our Paris. And unshattered, however intelligent and experienced they are, emotionally or psychologically, there is deep in there within their personality an unsatiable need for love, for explicit expressions of love. I didn't see anything of this in Obama.
I've never seen there's lots of things to say like that. Somebody told me the story that, Bob Reich told me this story. This is Robert Reich, he was Secretary of Labor.
The small guy.
He said he had been a friend of Clinton's. They'd been students together in England, so he was kind of Clinton's friend. He said that if he went to a cabinet meeting, and whenever Clinton looked at him, he looked annoyed or looked away, for sure Clinton would call within 2 days. How's it going, Bob? What's up? Is there something on your mind? What's going on? He just wanted the love. If you tried that shit with Obama, you'd freeze in hell before he called. Obama didn't. He had lunch. He's pretty much said he had lunch alone half the days.
Is that right?
Yeah. They would schedule in time for him to be alone. Mm-hmm. And if he did if he did some event where, he was speaking to 1,000 people,
No,
they would give him like a little rest time afterwards.
no.
Right.
It was too many human beings around.
Yeah, he just wanted to be,
Yeah.
he had no need.
Yeah.
And it's the same, he wants to be with the people he wants
I
to be
think
with.
it's a source of strength, ultimately, in tough moments in politics. Probably it's not the most effective way to mobilize people.
No, but it's a very, or look, another thing, which I'm sure they tried a lot of times. If you were president, let's say you're president of the United States, and you like to play golf.
You like it?
You're president of the United States,
Yeah.
and you like to play golf.
Yeah.
Okay, which he does.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a potential
Yeah.
big political asset that
Yeah.
you like to play golf.
Yeah.
Okay. The president likes to play golf with his buddies, and so 80% of the golf is
Yeah.
with the same three guys.
Yeah.
His photographer, his campaign guy, and his three buddies from Chicago. That's who he plays golf with. Now, most people, if they were president and they played golf, they play golf with people from Congress. They play golf with business guys. They play golf with people who would.
Read Clinton memoirs.
Yeah.
It's so boring because it's like a list of the special what he had done with anything, and still very careful not to insult anyone years after he's not in office anymore.
Right. And Obama just is.
No.
It's all.
Cerebral. He's extremely cerebral.
They called him. Yeah, and he has this. Their nickname for him during the campaign was Black Jesus.
Is that right?
So who knows what kind of character Jesus was?
No, but he has this sense of himself
Yeah.
as not needy
Yeah.
and
I
removed.
think, I think of other elements. I think that when he looks at the pictures of all his predecessors, he doesn't see them all. He sees probably 7 or 8 of them. Probably Washington, Jefferson, the 2 Roosevelts, I know, probably, of course Lincoln, probably Kennedy and Reagan, I know. He doesn't see the rest of them. He thinks in terms of greatness. And understand that greatness comes from few major decisive achievements, sometimes against all odds, that happen to be perceived at hindsight as important. And that's, I think that when he thinks, even on Iran, what really disturbs him is the possibility that this will be a great stain on his role. If they turn nuclear under his term, under his watch, where he had, Bush, it's a paradox, we used to joke in Israel that Labour governments can make war and only Likud governments can make peace. Here you find something similar. The Bush administration, they can run very high rhetoric, but in effect they were parallel even from ordering the Pentagon to plan contingencies for certain cases. This administration, they got Nobel Peace Prize as a down payment before they even started. Somehow they are planning and preparing much more seriously. I visited the Pentagon right now. They keep improving. I used to score on American colleagues that when we are talking about surgical operations, we are talking about using scalpel, and they are talking about chisel with 10-pound hammer. But in the last several years, they developed extremely subtle scalpels, probably more effective than ours. And bearing in mind that they hold the big stick there anyhow, without having to announce it. Basically, I once told the president, look, I'm confident that if on a scale, a spectrum of operational decisions,
a decision to delay the Iranian nuclear program by several years would look more like a raid on bin Laden than a fully fledged war in Iraq, you might have considered very seriously already. It is only the fact that somehow people succeeded in implanting in your mind an extremely dramatic scenario that might eventually develop out of it, that makes you judge it as something closer to the other pole. And that's not an accurate description of reality.
But didn't you start out? I might not have this exactly right, but I think he started thinking that part of his grand legacy was that he was going to bring hope and harmony to the big Middle East.
Yeah.
That he was going to give the Cairo speech,
Yeah.
that the Islamic world was going to feel better about him, that Israel was going to be induced to be constructive, that there was going to be peace in the West Bank, and then everybody was going to feel better, and he was going to do for Iran what Nixon did for China.
Yeah.
And so I think he started with the idea that he was going to be a visionary great man. And I think he's learned in the last 4 years that that's not going to happen. And now I think it's much more defensive. That is, I think he's trying to avoid a stain rather than to have an achievement. Is my sense.
Yeah, we should go try.
Is my sense watching him. But is he? For how long? I mean, I have this sense that people always say the next year is the crucial year, the next 9 months are the crucial 9 months.
About what?
About Iran. But then it sort of
moves.
Drifts.
Moves a quarter every quarter.
Moves what?
Move forward a quarter every quarter.
Yeah, it's like shale oil was, I think it's no longer true, but for 40 years, the price at which shale oil would be profitable was the same. The current price of oil plus 10.
Yeah, but when it's 100 plus 10, it's different.
No, I'm saying it's no longer
4 plus 10 is 8 plus 10.
Right, but it's but is Iran likely to come to a crunch in the next year?
What's the crunch to reach a nuclear capacity?
Is there likely to be? Well, no. I mean, that's one question, but I mean,
I'm not.
so things that could happen are there could be an attack.
Let me describe it the following way. Iranians will always act based on what they feel, to what extent the other side, mainly the United States and Israel, are ready to act. And they are clever enough to act counter-cyclic, namely when the attention of the whole world is somewhere else, or where for other reasons will be paralyzed from doing something, they will be acting. When all of us are focused on it and stand ready, they might even go with further gambits. They might announce that they stop everything for a year, just in order to. And they are chess players, extremely clever, but they are determined to follow in the footsteps of Pakistan and North Korea, and not to fall into the trap that, in a way, late Gaddafi, or under other circumstances, the South African fell into. And clearly they want not to end with something like Iraq or Syria. So the very fact that I can quote these 3 pairs of examples means that there is opening for them. So there is a need for something much more dramatic than the present kind of level of sanction. They're very unprecedented and very painful for them. It reduced their reserves dramatically, and some of the reserves are practically blocked. They cannot approach them very easily. The real, the currency, was devaluated dramatically. And it's not easy, but as we know from other examples in the past, the elites doesn't suffer.
See, that's what I was struck by. I was struck by the fact that I didn't see, if you treated the country as one actor doing what was best for the country, then I think there's a case to be made that the, reward, take off the sanctions, give them rewards, they give up the nukes, all that. But if you take it from the point of view of the people who are there now, I don't see how, if the sanctions come off and they give up the nukes, they're alive and in power a year later.
Yeah, it's the basic strategy of the regime is to defend its continuity. And for them, I'm talking from time to time about zone of immunity for the nuclear military program. But the whole program aims at achieving another layer of immunity, an immunity for the regime. They see, look at what happened right now in North Korea. They fully understand, the Iranians, that once they turn nuclear, that's become the ultimate guarantee that no one will try to intervene within their internal, however brutal they might have to go with their own people. So that's what they do not need it in order to drop a bomb on a neighbor. They need it in order to be able to spread terror, to hegemonize the region, to intimidate neighbors, and to be secure that whatever they are doing will not end up with someone trying to topple the regime. So I think that the problem is that for us, for Israel, time is running out because they keep acting, they keep enriching, they keep preparing more centrifuges. Now start with a new version of centrifuges that will be probably 5 times more effective in enrichment. That shortens the time frame between decision and reaching a weapon grade capabilities running from 20% or whatever. They protect better the size, they improve their surface to air missile system, the radars to identify stealth kind of airplanes or even kind of cruise missiles. They are not sleeping. They already built a force of some 6,500 floating mines with GPS that can navigate, so to speak, their place into their places in the Straits of Hormuz. And it's quite a converging effort to create enough redundancy that Israel, with its limited military potential, won't be able to delay them by significant time. And probably a year later or 18 months later, even America won't be able to do it in a clearly surgical operation. And that's basically their calculation. So they do not have a timetable. It doesn't matter for them. They waited for nuclear weapons 4,000 years. They wait another 4 years or 4 quarters or 4 years, doesn't matter. They just want to reach it before they start to collapse as a regime. That's the real.
Will their election matter?
It matters because it gives excuses to those who don't want to create a moment of truth, not to reach this moment. under normal situation, the coming spring, it should have been a moment of truth. P5+1 is going to meet in Kazakhstan. Afterwards, probably direct negotiation. There was some rumors that Valerie started to. She was born in Iran, in Shiraz. Her father led.
Who was that?
Valerie Jarrett was born in Iran.
Was she really?
In Shiraz. Her father was, before the revolution, he was heading a hospital financed by some international NGO, by American government, somehow to help the Iranian people. So she was born there. And some others, even, some former players, including one of my former colleagues and some former leading ambassadors, try to create a direct contact with the Iranians to try to clarify what would be the terms under which. And the Iranians assume, I know it, I'm not guessing, that this type of guys would not have contacting them without informing the NSC or State Department, Pentagon, whatever. And so for them, even if the intention is not this, it is read by the Iranians as, and they might end up. I recommend it to my colleagues here too. I told them we cannot pretend to be able to tell you whether to talk to them directly or not if you feel that's ultimately necessary to, absolutely necessary to make sure that you exhausted all alternatives. But if you do it as early as possible, so that coming the election, coming April, they will have to face a choice, because if they reach election and you are still negotiating with them, they will tell their people we are standing firm against the whole world, including America. They're all crawling to our doorstep to ask for some concessions, and at the same time they keep moving. It's ridiculous. And I guess that even after election, someone else will be elected, whoever he is. There will be people who will say, oh, that's a moderate. Assume that they will elect someone who is less colorful than Ahmadinejad. Immediately there will be interpretation that he is more serious, more moderate. It is moderate Ayatollah. It cannot make a difference. He should get a chance, so it will swallow another quarter. So that's how 2013 is going to pass. That's one of the reasons why I decided to leave, because I don't see it converging into a real moment of truth or decision. It can easily drag over another year. But at a certain point, they will turn nuclear. I told the president, I remember Clinton. I never questioned his will to block North Korea, but somehow it didn't happen. I told Jeff, I remember sitting with Bill Casey during Reagan time as head of our intelligence community. In regard to Pakistan, it was exactly the same. How many sites, how many centrifuges, how about the plutonium bypass, where can they reach? It didn't work. Reagan wanted to see them non-nuclear, but that's what might easily happen here once again.
And if it happens, now what? Then
I think it will. First of all, it will.
So,
be
but the argument. I'm sorry.
It will be the end of any conceivable non-proliferation regime. Because basically it means that if you can defy the whole world, if you have enough money, not huge amounts of money and willpower. And it will start a much more self-confident intimidation of neighbors, which still the major supplier of oil to Europe, to the east, to the far east. And the regimes there are already kind of crashed between two powers. One is Iran and the other is the Islamists in Turkey and Egypt. These are two corner kind of pillars of the main pillars of the Middle East.
And the Saudi leadership, they are dying. I don't know how you call the phenomenon where a candle is just about to die.
Flicker.
Flicker.
Flicker. So the old man there is practically inactive. The second is deep in dementia. They now just nominated the third one, someone about our age, who was the head of intelligence Mukre, but I don't believe that anyone sees him as a king. Probably Naif, that another cousin will become ultimately. But they are not self-confident. And Abdullah of Jordan is not self-confident. The UAE is, some of the Emirates are much more confident because of their money, but it's all, I don't know how to call it.
The Qataris are confident, aren't they?
They behave, they behave this way. It's I call them a TV station with an Emirate. It's like of, I know, I met the Sheikh Jassim, in Munich.
Oh, he came?
Yeah.
He came to the security conference?
Yeah, and I talked to him. Yeah, but, it's, the Americans, I met Kerry this morning, they don't know how to read the Qataris. They are totally confused. And I told them they are just starting to hedge their bets against the possibility that you will be will be the losers, and the Iranians will be the winners. That's all. They see Turkey and Egypt under Islamist government, so they become more Islamist. They see the determination of the Iranians and what happens in Iraq, so they turn more pro-Iranian. So it ends up that they're less pro us or pro the others. It's just they're trying to survive. Told Kerry several years ago, I asked, not him, the other one, the Emir, asked him, even then I asked him, are you starting to hedge your bet with this stuff? He told me, look at Google Earth in front of our shores, you'll find certain place where you can find two wells, 25 yards from each other. One is other, the other is Iranian. They were practically drinking from the same place. Whoever has a bigger, higher diameter of pipe takes more. And so we have to take them into account. Plain. So Middle Eastern.
What's happening in Egypt? Tell me.
I don't know. I told Kerry today, I think that you're the only players to have any leverage upon them. Because in spite of all their bad kind of ideology and kind of extreme vision, they are practical people. Morsi is an engineer. Engineer turns up, shooting the same diameter, the bolt, the nut, and the same. Then with ideology, the same spiral. And the great leader of the Muslim Brothers in Egypt is not, unlike the Ayatollah that come, he's not a religious scholar, he's a veteran. You have to vaccine, you have to make sure that the cow get pregnant. It's practical. And the third one is the one who supposed to run for presidency before. He was pushed by some tricks and Morsi became the candidate. He's a businessman, medium-sized businessman. So it's also, they're all practical people, so they need to feed 88 million, to create million jobs every year, probably more, to deal with the presence of multinationals, with direct, foreign direct investment, to resume tourism, to keep the canal working, to keep Sinai under control. They need you. They need Americans. They believe that America gives orders to World Bank, to the IMF, to any other organization that they need.
And they understand that it's all about economy, and they see after a very short time, they see the kind of stress of the public, the resentment, the rejection in the streets right now. So I believe that they could be, their actual behavior, probably not the revision, but the actual behavior could be shaped. I even told my colleagues here that I didn't see any reason to keep providing them with military hardware. Doesn't make sense. They don't need it against Libya, they don't need it against Sudan. So basically you help them to accumulate against Israel, and then Israel asks to accumulate more in order to, and you pay both. It's unlike the Saudis and the Emirates that pay for whatever they want. I told them probably it's better to take this 1.5 billion or whatever and pour it into their economy, the infrastructure, some projects that you can have a saying about, and will deepen their dependency on you.
What's the future of Israel? I mean, something will happen in Iran. Maybe we'll succeed. Maybe we won't. And that'll make it worse. But the demography seems terrible. Nobody sane seems to be procreating, and everybody insane in their own way seems to have 5 children. You know, whether it's Arabs or Orthodox, they have 5 children. If you're regular Israeli, you have 1.5 children.
The Haredim are more productive than the Arabs. I think we cancelled some of the. We had exponential support function for productivity. It's something bizarre. Rather to be an S-curve, it becomes exponential. I always, when I meet a friend with 3 children, I tell him, another 2 and you are deep into the social security trap. That's your job. Just you can sit idle. No, I don't. The future of Israel is waking up at the right moment before it's too late, putting a wedge on this drift along the slippery slope toward one-state nation. First of all, because with one-state nation it will be even faster. Yeah, it will be bi-national at first, and then within a generation with an Arab majority. In fact, one of Abu Mazen's kind of partners to leadership, Abu Allah, he was the one who negotiated with us. So all along the way. At a crucial point, some 5 years ago, when he negotiated with Tzipi Livni about far from the public eye, but everyone knew it. And she demanded that he will recognize the Jewish Israel, the Jewish state, as a part of any document. And told her, lady, it's cannot do it. If you continue with this demand, probably will turn into one state, big state, from the Jordan to the Mediterranean. Every citizen will get a vote, and the majority will decide what could be simpler. So it's not there is a need to stop this immediately. It's part, in a way, it's a collective blindness of our society. Kind of, the sight field is not full. You don't. Some people do not see everything. What happened here, you don't see it. You never miss it. So that's what happens to our society right now. So that's number one. And that's why it's not a zero-sum game. We are not making them a favor, doing a favor to the Palestinians or to anyone. But even within the borders of smaller Israel, there is still an issue. And I think the Arabs are growing slowly. They were 40 years ago, they were 16%, now they are 20%. We should be able to provide equality. First to the Druze, they are about 1%, they are
totally Israelis in their behavior, by security people, by the military aid camp for the president, some generals, some pilots are Druze. Then we should take the Christian minority. They're about another 2%. They could become, they have an education system which is better than ours. But like minority, it reminds me somehow of our students in spatial between the Dnieper and the Don. The minority with a sense of being kind of isolated from, they excel in everything they're doing. Then we have, I believe, we have to break the monopoly of the Orthodox rabbinate on marriage and funerals and whatever, and the definition of Jew, and accept, open, in a sophisticated, subtle manner, open the gates from massive conversion into Judaism. It's a successful country. Many will apply at the beginning without making it, you cannot make it a precondition, but under the social pressure, the need, especially of the second generation, to adapt, it will happen. And we can control the quality much more effectively than our ancestors, or kind of the founding fathers of Israel did with the wave, that it was a kind of salvation wave from North Africa, from the Arab, or from wherever. They took whatever came just to save people. Now we can be selective. And I think that with much more open kind of mind about turning Jew, we can easily absorb another million. I used to tell Putin always, what we need is not just 1 more million. He changed Israel in a dramatic manner, the million Russians. And I think that many will prefer to be Belarusian, or many young, handsome girls will come, tall, skin. We now have we used to, then you come, you interview someone entering into some unit in the army, asking what's your name, he answers Sergei Biton. It's already started to work together. Sergei Biton or Vladimir Abutbul, you find everything. I think that, I'm optimistic, there's some necessity creates more flexibility, and we have the background. It depends on what you look for. I used to scorn the Haredim all the time about the Bedouin wife of Moses. He went to the desert, he brought the Bedouin wife. Zipporah was Bedouin. Or the grandmother of King David, she was Moabite that seduced his grandfather in the field. And the whole story is there. So we can be more tolerant. I think that.
But is there any recognition of, what you said about smaller Israel, not bigger Israel, is the only prospect? That seems right, but there doesn't seem to be any recognition within the country.
There is certain underlying recognition. It's not, we had a quite surrealistic election right now. These questions are extremely urgent, both Iran and the Palestinian issue and whatever. But the whole discussion was about the draft law for Haredim and the memories of the resentment kind of. We had much more genuine, a wider scale, Occupy Wall Street kind of equivalent, but more genuine, really mobilized masses. And they appeared. They took the son of Tommy Lapid, the journalist that everyone knows because he handsome, and he appears every Friday evening on the most popular TV, kind of the anchor. And he became, out of nowhere, not a drop of a... It's like taking a presenter of a bank, making the CEO. It's a kind of a... And became the second largest party. But that reflects somehow the uneasiness of the mainstream Israeli
old elites and the youngsters from what we are doing. So I think that probably a wake-up call will come. This way, I always hope not through a painful crisis where you have to bury the consequences, but through something softer. But basically there is a clear, whoever is ready to think of it independently knows what should be done. We should launch immediately a dramatic effort, even if we know that probably it won't yield a fully fledged peace. But it can yield quite easily an interim agreement where we set for kind of a solution for borders and security, and the world guarantees the Palestinians that it will not remain so. That within 5 years there will be a solution for the rest of the issue. I think that we have to launch immediately with the American effort to create regional security system based on the America, Europe, the moderate Arab countries, and Israel, focused on blocking fundamentalist terror, Islamist terror, missile defense, and cornering Iran, and coming to terms on modus vivendi with the Islamist government, Turkey. And that will help those, the fact that we are moving with the Palestinians will help those moderate Sunnite leaders, most of them monarchs and emirs, to join hands with us in America vis-a-vis Iran, because they personally, they don't care about Palestinian probably, but they are fully aware that their peoples in their streets, there will be a very high price to work with Israel or to modify the tensions if we are not going with the Palestinians. And for the Israeli public, this will create a kind of framework for something reasonable. We join hands, we do not promise heaven on earth, but we join hands with the white people in the region, the world, to solve concrete issues. It will help a lot to reduce the tensions. And even somehow, if I may say, I think that when you focus only on the Palestinian-Israeli issue, Israelis feel freer, we say in Yiddish, kind of, I don't know, suckers, if they go to peace. Because they remember, I pulled out from Lebanon, there is 60,000 rocket missiles. Sharon pulled out from Gaza, there are 10,000. If Bibi will pull out from the West Bank, there will be just behind the, when you come to land, to Ben Gurion, you go over some 2,000 feet over Arab occupied territory. It could be crazy. So people feel that we are only giving, we cannot get anything. And it's true, from the Palestinians we cannot get anything. But once you put into the equation the whole Arab moderate world, it ends up that we get a lot recognition from the Arab world.
But that's been the argument. But the problem is that's been the argument for, in one way or another, something.
Yeah, last 20 years.
I was going to say the last 15 years, and it seems like it's less. It's a less strong argument.
That's a success of Bibi in the negative sense. He became successful in convincing our people that we did our part of it, that we tried, and all the responsibility is upon the shoulders of Abu Mazen, which is not true. We never tried in the last 4 years to were never ready to make painful decisions in order to have a breakthrough. Played around. Abu Mazen is responsible partly for what happens. Americans made mistakes, the Europeans made a lot of mistakes, but that doesn't, cannot justify our, I don't know how to put it, failure for. Yeah, and it's true. Abu Mazen doesn't help. He's not an easy client.
Do people expect that Obama and Kerry are going to invest heavily in Israel-Palestinians?
No, I don't think so.
Or that they're going to stay away from it?
probably they dream about it, some of them, but I don't think that. I think the reason of Obama visit is that he has to do it. There are even some stories that it was born in not exactly normal way, that Perez, who got here a kind of liberty medal, planned to bring Obama in June to bring him some medal of the Israeli president, but to participate in a conference that Perez initiates last several years, every June, and to participate in his 90th birthday. If you can't arrange a funeral, at least arrange a birthday. And it was promoted by some people who supported Obama actively. So he said, okay, yes, no problem. Then his people heard about it, and some Jewish journalists, they heard about it and said, are you crazy? You're going to make a private visit to Shimon Peres after 5 years of you missed Israel. You have to, the only way is to make a formal visit and to be hosted by the Prime Minister. So he found himself there. Then he thought twice and thought, yeah, it's not that bad. Probably just to make sure that I cease to be the reason for everything, that the fact that I didn't visit Israel, now that because of this, everything is doesn't move. So, okay, let's be there, visit all the capitals, talk to the people. I don't think that something dramatically is going to happen.
I mean, Clinton at a certain, you know this, you would know infinitely better than I, but Clinton at a certain point decided that this was his path to a Nobel Prize in history. Yeah. And I don't think, Obama does not feel on that trajectory to me.
Did not it already, no?
But Kerry, it seems to me, will decide that's what he wants to do, won't he?
No.
I mean, the imperatives of Kerry's job are that if he wants to have a historic achievement to end his career, he's not going to get a historic achievement out of anything they do in the Pacific.
No. I think he understands it. He plans to come to Israel probably even before. I don't know how to cut it.
Just take it.
I don't want to take so much.
I know, you can leave it on your plate.
I think that, you know, Kerry made several missions for Obama in the past 4 years. Sometimes with Palestinians,
Afghanistan.
sometimes with
Karzai.
no, Karzai, that's far from our immediate, but with Assad, the young Assad. When he came as a kind of freelancer, he used to be always over-enthusiastic. If by his very enthusiasm it will
Infected.
I will call it, contagion will take place, and they will all this enthusiasm. Before they land, they will have something that I think, I looked at him, I spent some time with him one-on-one. He's more realistic now because of this. So he knows, and he knows that he comes a little bit too early. Bibi doesn't have a fixed idea about what should be done, and then he makes the government that can do it. He just wait to see what kind of government he has, and then he will modify what he wants to achieve. So if Kerry comes too late, too early for this, but he wants to make sure that Abu Mazen is with him and will not disappear, that's all. He's more realistic, he will try, but I think he needs a lot of luck, probably some intervention from heaven or from other players too. That an opportunity for a fully fledged agreement will be created.
All right, but since you left, who's now going to be leaving government, He's going to go into the real world after 50 years. It was his birthday 2 days ago. Your birthday, yes?
Uh-huh.
How old are you?
71. I was born exactly 13 years after Lincoln. Same day.
And have you ever been in the private sector?
Yeah.
Have you been in government?
I have been for several years.
You were for several years after you were prime minister.
Yeah.
You were in the private sector and
Yeah.
were doing various kinds of business.
Yeah.
And
I was involved with 2 small private equity firms as a part of the general partner, and gave advice to some of the biggest hedge funds and private equities as a consultant, and made some lectures and participated in some small-scale opportunities. Some Israeli companies wanted to work in Africa, make IPO in London. They need someone who can be with them when they come to London, and the people will listen to them or whatever.
And is that the kind of thing is that the kind of
I
thing
don't know.
you're gonna try to do now?
I think of finding ways to make more money and to do something more substantive, but I cannot go at my age and from this position and start to actively on a high resolution level running an operation as a CEO or whatever. That's a little bit too late in life.
And do you think you're now done with government?
copy of this, sir?
Deeply.
Do you
Yeah.
think you're now done, or do you
I
think,
assume.
or do you always looking for?
No,
I mean, Israeli politics
I'm not looking.
is very cyclical.
I'm not looking, and I don't have any kind of burning, compelling motive to come back and to prove something, justify it. But with our kind of eclectic, chaotic kind of move in the stage where we are, I cannot exclude that under certain type of crisis, I might be called to play a certain role. I don't look backward with any kind of hard feelings or needs. Unlike, I don't know if you knew Sharon. Sharon was burning with a kind of sense of something that had not been completed from the time he could not become the chief of staff, then he could not become a prime minister. He was defense minister, was sent out under a kind of inquiry commission that blamed him for some mishaps and so on. So he was burning in it, and he didn't see even the lines. He basically got a stroke in the evening or the morning. A major headline said that he got, according to the police, 3.5 million as a bribe to finance some political activity. Even Rabin was burning with need to come back after his first. I don't have fully satisfied. But I know that I might be called. So I would not do something that deliberately and for sure will close the way back. But I will not hesitate to go something that might, with significant probability, will scratch me in a way that will make it almost impossible to come back. I will not be deterred if it's tempting enough by the compensation and the what
Probably probably the way to have the greatest chance to come back is to look least interested and eager.
Yeah.
to come back. I think that's an irony of.
Yeah.
I think an irony of political life is that when you look like you don't need it and don't want it, it's you become more desirable. You become more desirable as a consequence.
But you would go back to government at this stage?
I'm like I wasn't prime minister of my country, and I'm not going to be president. I'm not going to be president of my country. I am, I think, in the same general. I'm a little younger. I'm 58, but I'm in the same general place. I think that Ehud is. There were moments in my life when I was burning to do things. I was burning, in the 1990s, I was burning to become Secretary of the Treasury. I very much wanted to go back into government and help do something about this financial crisis in 2008. Now, if the right role presented itself, and all of that, I would go. I don't want to do anything that would. I don't want to carelessly foreclose options, since I don't know what I'm going to want in the future. But unlike, to take somebody I was friendly with, Richard Holbrooke. Whenever Richard Holbrooke was not in government, his whole life was organized around figuring out how to maximize the chance of getting back into government. I remember when I would travel, people would ask me, before 2008, I remember in India once, they asked me, where's the Democratic Party going to be on the non-proliferation agreement? And I said, and they had been talking about Holbrooke, and I said, well, what did Holbrooke think? And they said, well, Holbrooke thinks it's a good idea. Holbrooke's supporting our position. And I said, well, then the Democratic Party will support it. And they said, I remember somebody said, does he have that much influence? I said, no. No, but I promise he will not have taken a position on the record that has any substantial chance of being opposed by whoever the Democratic presidential candidate will be. So I don't want to live my life.
He was in a way suppressed, depressed when he was out of. He never really enjoyed being out of government.
No, it was all about getting back into. It was all about getting back in to government. People say I've known him fairly well for the last 15 years or so, but I didn't know him before. People said that it took Kissinger a long time to come to terms with the fact
that he doesn't influence anymore.
That he wasn't going back into government. That for a long time he was organized around going back into government, and at a certain point he decided to have a different kind of role, and was sort of happy having that kind of role. My challenge has been, I don't know whether you found this, it sounds from the way you spoke like you found it. My challenge was relative to the expectations of being a professor or being a government official. It was fairly easy to make substantial amounts of money. Not money like Jeffrey and some of his friends, but money that was like a lot of money from my point of view.
Yeah.
The challenge is, and it's actually not that hard to do things that are reasonably pleasant and kind of interesting. What is hard is doing things that cause you to have adrenaline.
Cause you have?
That was
Sometimes depends. It probably depends how deep you go. In my last round in business, I have a friend who was very successful in venture capital in the good years, the very beginning of the hype. And he asked me to work with him, and after 7 months he told a common friend of us that Ehud is not hungry enough. But I feel more hungry now than then, because then I still thought that I might come back within several years, and now I don't have any problem with not going with finding something that should be fun and very profitable and fun at least some of the time. For in my experience, even politics was not always fun, and even science. Before I choose to go to the military career rather than to science, I spent a summer at the Weizmann Institute. Just I met yesterday a Nobel Prize laureate in astrophysics that worked together with a member of my class in Israel, also astrophysicist. And he told him that we worked together in Weizmann Institute this summer. So after this summer, he decided to stay in science, and I decided that we were working all the summer on photographs from bubble cell, the kind of hydrogen under heavy magnetic fields. The preliminary CERN operation about identified kind of behavior of particles. And I've seen, we were 6 labs working all over Europe and Israel on the same 1 million photographs, and after a year and a half, the professors sat down together, decided what to do. The young PhDs threw the greatest idea, and the professor went to the congresses abroad to represent it and so on. And I found the relation between the fascinating work in the last 6 weeks and the extremely boring looking of a picture after picture to see some abnormality in the behavior of all this bubble chamber it was called. And I decided to go there. So somehow I don't think that any probably maybe paintings or sculptures that give
So
them-
nothing is fun all the time. No, the question is finding
something that lives, that makes a
adrenaline,
change. Yeah.
adrenaline, where you feel like it's
Yeah. It's not just achievement, it's meaning, that there is some meaning. You are doing
some
something
high-
which is
some
important
high
to you.
meaning,
Yeah.
which depends on both what the thing is
Yeah.
and how large your what your role.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about something that goes beyond your body and beyond your time. Something important, really important. It's not complicated. Yeah, I don't think that there are many things. You are probably at earlier age than all of us. Someone can gamble on some idea and want to build something from scratch that has never been there and change certain part of the world. It's not for us. The most we can do is to use our capacity to integrate things, to make judgments and to make good recommendations, to back up what we say by 2 or 3 layers deeper into certain area where we feel confident. And probably to find a way to join such efforts in a way that creates synergy between several kinds of us. I think that there could be, I spent probably all the day last Saturday or the week before in Munich, meeting with probably, 20 ministers of foreign affairs and heads of state who were invited there. From Georgia or to Mongolia, Montenegro, Albania, Zagreb, Estonia. And you see how much these guys, some of them at the very kind of, not primordial, but embryonic phases
of normalizing a society or state, facing huge challenges with, and you having huge potentials in a way. And they don't know how to, don't feel confident about how to move in economy, how to move in finance, how to move in security, how to move in international relations, positioning themselves. I think that working on such project could be fascinating, because you see embryonic nations. Some of them have been born as nations. They have all have some old identities, and they look things that for you is something that's long behind you, is their great next challenge sometimes. And that could be something of importance, you know. You work there. I don't know. I've never been to Montenegro or Mongolia, but I assume if you go to Mongolia, see this nomadic health. The most interesting thing I have heard about them participating in gathering arranged by some NGO in Davos about microinsurance. They want to copy the idea of microfinancing to microinsurance. And someone told a story there that they went with microfinancing or microinsurance against weather to Mongolia. And they had to set a way how to calculate, how to pass a kind of equal judgment about what to pay, how to create a parameter, because you cannot go to Mongolia to take case by case. So it ended one parameter was the size of the herd that you hold. Because they didn't get someone from the locals to work with them. It ended up that they set the counting station at some point in this hilly landscape, and many of the shepherds identified immediately, without knowing anything about the economy, that that's a parameter, and the herds were moving around. They didn't put a stempel on any. So it's full of, you find them so deeply backward that it gives a sense of something that you can do with all that you accumulated to make. You cannot invent a vaccine against, I know, some remote parasite in Africa, but in sub-Saharan Africa, there are huge opportunities to help them. There are many corrupt people. It will take time for probably a generation down the stream. They will keep robbing the natural resources by the elites, but they are still moving forward. It cannot be denied when you compare them to 20 years or 40 years ago. I think that could be interesting.
I think, you see, the two of you, that's why I wanted to, the two areas, I think these beginning nation states, whether Mongolia or parts of Africa or even Kazakhstan has a lot of money, but they're not, the sophistication is 10 years back. The cellular service being sort of a prime example of not being burdened with copper in the ground and fiber, so you can go right to cellular phone. You have this leapfrog. And I think you're both a little crazy in the fact that in terms of compensation and money, the two hottest areas is every country wants to be now in the world of finance. They're not really talking about manufacturing. If you're a leader, you're talking about food security. You're not talking about a production line. You want to explore natural resources, but you want to exploit your natural resources for an economy. And you want to have two things. You want to have economy and you want to have money, security. So you two are really, I think, in the primary positions for the current time. I don't know if it lasts more than 5-10 years. Telecommunication, maybe something else takes over.
We're not interested in development more than 30 years.
Yes.
About this time.
No, but security, I think you need to think about how to break it down. Cybersecurity.
Yeah.
That's I think it's going to be the hot button for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Big time. Border security is less of an issue, and a lot of people can handle it. But the expertise...
But national security is something, because in many of these countries, they don't know even how to approach it.
Yes.
How to approach on a national level the issue of security of
a country at the backyard of Europe, like Montenegro, Albania, or Estonia, or Latvia, and on the other hand, a totally different situation, the security of Mongolia or Kazakhstan. They don't even have, they don't know what to do, so they do what they know. They issue bids and take some of the money. And that's it. They don't build even national security in a proper way. It's the last guy who come to them with some impressive ideas and good margins, and they fall into the trap.
But if you were advising Mongolia on see again, I'm not sure the general security. What is that? How do you start? What's the first, step 1 through 5 is what?
Well, from budget to what to do and what not to do, and how to do it effectively, and what could not be treated by any kind of security, but by diplomacy, and probably even, I met with the foreign minister, with the national security advisor, and they insisted on sending a delegation to Israel because we are a small country, hostile. They're good people, but they're so far behind. It's like coming to a seminar in the university about some issue that, I don't know. They have something, they are responsible for the country, they try to act, but they never thought of how to balance, how to approach this issue, how to make it, what's worth investing in, what's not worth investing in, how to make the major effort they are doing now with multinationals to balance their approach to mining, how to combine this with security, first of all, security of the mining fields and the security of the whole area, and what to do with they're trying to find a way. They're reasonable people, but they're afraid that some of the advice that they are given are motivated by great powers behind those who advise them. There is an issue of trust. And of course, they don't know what to do with the economy, and even what to do with the money they can get, how to use the potential, what to do, how to develop, what should be taken by the state, how to make the big companies participate in it, how you can leverage them to do it, how to make them, how to keep the edge of being the owner of the whole thing beyond the first signature on a document. They're not, it's not simple. Nothing is simple in this.
No, you were saying before you came in that that you think there are a lot of these people who really are very hungry for
Yes.
Right,
advice.
I think.
You see it, right?
I feel the same. I feel that if, just a hypothesis, I spoke to a friend of mine that became a friend of Jeff as well, a guy who works with Ban Ki-moon, for $1 per year, named Terry Larson. It's a Norwegian diplomat, his wife is Norwegian. He had some trouble, so he left the public service, his wife remained there. And he travels all around the world on behalf of now assume for a moment that you, Jeff and myself and this Terry Larson establish a consulting group that take on a basis of countries, sovereigns, to give them advice, strategic advice on macroeconomy, finance, security, and international relationship. And these all things for leaders, even democracy for government, but clearly for a more kind of autocratic leader, it's a gestalt. They don't really see a difference. Everything touches everything else. And if some group that has kind of can talk to each other quickly, intelligently, give them advice, it worth money. And for some of them, think of Kazakhstan can pay. In fact, they are paying. By now, they are paying for more than one channel. They want second opinion, third opinion, and a spatial opinion of this, that. They pay quite a lot of money. They have this money for taking consult. Sometimes they see it as not just consulting. All all these sovereigns. They think that if they will choose the right people, they get certain edge in nothing, probably not in lobbying, not in active lobbying, but in helping them to find a way to navigate in issues that they have with international bodies and with NGOs, and sometimes even to ask those advisors to find who could be the lobbyist. If they have to pass certain, I remember Nazarbayev came to me 10 years ago because he was isolated, he was frightened by some investigation that went from the United States, I believe, about some behaviors of his government. Sometimes they need an access to the ECB, to the World Bank, to access.
You have to be careful of is, I mean, you know, it's a little different. It's probably a little better. They probably need access to America more often than they need access to Israel.
Yeah, but they rely more on the advice from Israel than advice from America.
Because Israel's problems are more like their problems.
No, because Israel is small enough not to threaten. You know,
Right.
we are supposed to have
That's
good
right.
contacts all around the world. You know,
That's
when I talk to the Mongolians, they ask me, can you talk to Putin? I said, yes, I can talk to him. It's important for them because there are many antagonisms, and if a Russian or an American, if a Russian would come to them, they would think that he works for Putin. If an American comes, they might find that they find themselves within a bigger game. So we have.
No, that's right. No,
we have certain kind of prestige of being connected in the world and not threatening anyone.
And you have a sense of having been extraordinarily effective, given your I mean, Israel has a sense of having been extraordinarily successful, effective, and strong, given its location and its size.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
And
I
human capital. I'm not sure whether you have the same human capital in Mongolia, but they know it as well.
No, but think if you're a Mongolia or a Kazakhstan, you know, I'd like to have a generation ahead, like Israel had, is a natural way to think. Whereas I'd like to have a generation like the United States. It's just different. I mean, they're just going to be in a different kind of.
No, we are also a source of unique, cutting-edge knowledge, Israel, in some issues which are extremely important for them. Water processing and both desalinating reuse of water and even the effectiveness of use of it in agriculture in semi-arid and arid areas. We have the most sophisticated agriculture on earth. The real point is that all players are Israeli, so they sometimes take 2 kilograms of newly manufactured, genetically manufactured seeds, bring them to Cuba or some Angola or wherever, and within 5 years we have competitors. So we have to excel in running ahead of the wave in R&D. And we are doing in agriculture, and you know better than me that there is a need to probably double the food production within a generation or so without kind of causing.
You and I aren't going to tell them what seeds they want to use.
But what the direction could be.
To the people who are going to tell them that.
And there is Jeffrey can tell us that could be certain kind of practical economic benefit from being able to be the one who point to them genuine, sincere players in certain area. But you know who are you going to recommend in advance? You can leverage this kind of having the trust of a government, like be it Montenegro, Latvia. Of course, the Danish government doesn't need it, but all these governments which are not yet self-confident enough, they feel that they need it. They need experienced people
who doesn't
It's not India.
doesn't
It's not India, but it
doesn't
is.
lose a sleep of night if they hear of major problems in some country, they face such issues and all.
You're saying it's not India, but it is but it is.
And probably,
Mongolia, and maybe it's Sri Lanka, and maybe it's.
Many out of the 194 nations, I can easily think that some 50 needs it, and we cannot work in 50 places. And some of them are potentially quite rich, or with other potentials to create money that enables them to pay for it, and they feel it or realize it. There's no sense for us to go to lost places.
Well, anyone who has natural resources has a way of. The natural resources are always under a kind of quasi-state control. That's not quite the government. It's not like the government's kind of taking your taxpayers' money and giving it to somebody. It's that the state natural resources, whatever, that's presumably where the money comes.
I do not exclude the possibility that in 5 years' time you will end up with decentralization of decision making in both China and India for different reasons, through different mechanisms, where you might find Chinese cities, not just the provinces, but cities, with enough authority and enough resources to hire their advisors to operate. They basically think of themselves as under the idea of centers of excellence. They look and they see, we are just 400 Singapores, basically with the same ethnical background or some even more advantageous, more homogeneous. And if we can copy 400 times Singapore, we are the real success of the world. When you meet with Chinese mayors right now, first of all, some of them have population under control, which are medium size to big. They are bigger than most of the European countries, like Austria and Switzerland and Denmark together. So, and they get more. That's part of the way of the Chinese to face the threat of losing control as a result of social. The whole transition bodes ill for there. It's not going to be a smooth way for them. And in order to face, they try to anticipate and to find generic solutions, not to concrete, but through processes that will smooth the hitting of the problems. And India, for different reasons, they come from another direction, but they also, you might find that in Indian states, they will get more autonomous capability to take. You know, they have the governor who's supposed to intervene on behalf of Manmohan Singh, but it's only if things get wrong in an explicit way, illegal way, big scandals that comes to the surface. So I think that there is a lot of work. It could be fascinating because it's really, in a way, it's using what you accumulated all along your life to help real people facing real problems that you are acquainted with, and they don't feel as confident. They draw both emotional kind of confidence.
No, it's a very good thing to do if one can find.
I think once you, not so hang out the shingle, they find you. They don't know where to go. I mean, they sort of. Who do I talk to? I said by default they talk to me, but
they read in The Economist the articles about them in order to try to find a hint about how they should.
It's wild. Now, you have to be sensitive. There's places like the Congo that have tremendous natural resources, but it'll never. It's zero. You stay away because it's impossible. Rwanda, there's African countries, so it's different than Mongolia.
I met Kagame. What's the name? The big basketball player, looked like a kind of president of Rwanda.
Yeah.
And I believe that Tony Blair is giving him
He is.
A lot of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kagame, I don't know about
No.
Kagame. Kagame is, it feels like if you're the president of Rwanda, you should sometimes be in Rwanda. Judging by how often I meet him, going to one conference or another, he couldn't be spending very much time
probably,
in
yeah.
Rwanda.
Yeah, but it's a way to avoid the stress of being all the time in Rwanda.
But it's like Rwanda has gas, but it's in the middle of the lake.
Right. Other places in Africa.
And what's
No,
which
I
lake?
think Africa's in
Albert?
Brazil. Kagame said there's a gigantic gas field, but just like there's a place in.
Well, what's the problem there? The Caspian Sea also has a
You
huge
can't because
gas.
it's inside. Once you can't get it out of the country because
Why?
There's no infrastructure.
Put it.
It's not well in Africa. Putting in even trains, half the time they steal. You put down the rails, you go to sleep, and the rails are gone because someone took it.
Is there any place in Africa that you think has
No.
a prospect?
No.
Really?
Yes.
You think no?
Angola, maybe. I don't know who. No, I don't. I think it's. Let me be less
South
cavalier.
South Africa is going to be a major economic power. It goes very
Yes, but I think
slow.
South
but
Africa?
Yeah.
I think the concept is over some 30 years, maybe. But I think there are easier. There's low hanging fruit, like Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan's a perfect example. There's $80 billion in sovereign wealth. They would like to be part of the Western world. It's the big things to be seen, to have human rights. They want to be part of the financial system. Part of it is that they don't want to be embarrassed. That's clearly. So that when they want to talk to someone, they want to know there's discretion and good advice, so they can at least take credit for decisions. So those are easier places. So in Africa, maybe, but very hard work, I think.
What about
South America is Venezuela at the moment. If Chavez dies in the next, I had a whole bunch of the oil guys here. It's the monstrous proven reserves, lots of things to do. Once Chavez goes and the financial system, like they devalued their currency last week.
32%.
Yeah, so they had 3 exchange rates. Now they only have 2 exchange rates, but they don't have an economy.
They have Dudamel.
But you.
Dudamel.
Yes, that's the only thing you
One
have.
of the best conductors on earth.
Yes.
The young Venezuelan.
So I think there's plenty of places. China is a different thing because there's that cultural. You both have a great issue in China because it gives them face to talk to you or to you, so that they feel. And if you went to see them for a day and you left the country, you never want to stay there, because if you go and you leave, they can tell all their friends that you came just to see them. So that's a.
What about Azerbaijan?
Same thing. It's just tricky.
Yeah, I met Aliyev.
Yes.
And I remember his father. His father was a communist, kind of KGB kind of representative in the place, head of the Communist Party. And now the son took over when the father died. It's a kind of run like a family business. I met their Minister of Foreign Affairs. It ended up that he's not just most preferred colleague, but also the best friend he has in Israel is Avigdor Lieberman.
Is that right?
Yeah. But Israelis are making a lot of business in Azerbaijan.
No, I think once you set it up, people understood that you're really in business, you have to choose which is the right place. You wouldn't be, and you could charge a lot of money.
I think there is an opportunity, and if you don't create a huge overhead, do not pretend to run operations to secure oil fields, so you point them to companies. There are many in Israel. Some in America. Some would not like to have an American company running, but something from a smaller country.
Well, what have you found most interesting? You've been out now for how long? A year?
I've been out now. I've been out 2 years. I've been about 2 years, and I would say the two most interesting things have been being on the boards of a couple of a high tech startup and involved with the venture capital. You just have a sense that you're sort of seeing people who are creating
something new.
Creating something new, and they're young and they're vigorous, and there's a sense of energy and being an adult. You can add something, and so I've enjoyed being with Hendries and Horowitz and being on the board of Square. That's been good, and I advise a couple hedge funds, and that's interesting because you sort of hear you have a sense of what the people in the markets are thinking and are doing. So I've enjoyed that as well, and then I do a bunch of sort of speaking and kibitzing and stuff on a variety of things, which is fine, but is less sort of exciting and stimulating. Well, if opportunities materialize, I don't think you can quite hang out the shingle and say country doctor, but
has a new meaning now. It's the accents on country.
Right.
Yeah, but access into country can, in certain countries, create a leverage to make a lot of money for a long time. Sometimes if you just bring together a leading major kind of mining company with a leading place to mine whatever they look for, and just agree with them on a extremely
very small
percentage or promillage or whatever they are doing, but as long as the operation is there, you might end up quite living quiet. It also has its values.
But has there something in the past 2 years gotten you excited in the adrenaline?
Yeah, I said to
work
with the young people on
That's been exciting.
But is there one? Is Square been the most thing?
Square's probably been the thing
That you look forward to going out.
I look forward to going out there, but it's not that I really do look forward to when we're going out there and when they call. Like, that's going to be interesting, and I'm glad they called. It's not quite that I'm thinking about it every night before I go. It's not quite at the level of I'm thinking about it every night before I go to sleep. In part because, a lot of what it is like developing better technology and all that, and it's not what I do.
Think of it, it's one of your edges as well, at the same time. Because part of what they need is someone who's experienced enough to look at it in a little bit more detached manner, be able to judge, to avoid the kind of over-enthusiasm that sometimes blinds them to where they are heading, or what could be the consequence. And that's where you can add, because you have much more subtle and
wisdom,
complicated
and
life
I'm
experience.
able to say, and I'm able to say to this, like you are.
Yeah, even
I'm able to say to anybody.
Yeah, whatever
that doesn't
you think.
seem quite right. When lots of people spend their lives surrounded by people who will never say to them, that's not. That's not quite right. That's not quite right. No, that's. So I like the things where you're engaged with more young people, and I'm sure in Israel there must be a ton of that.
Yeah, Israel is a fascinating place. It's for an eruption of entrepreneurial spirit.
Right, it's terrific.
And young people. Well, it's very typical to find the best, the two kind of decilons of the population coming out of the armed forces. Some of them spending their time in the armed forces in activities which are basically R&D or kind of startup kind of operations without economic side to it. and they come, they jump energetically. There is a buzz, it's a...
Are you going to live? Are you going to live in Israel, or are you going to live in New
That's a
York?
good question.
I basically live in Israel, but I am extremely fascinated about going out and see the world, and to be in many places. So I don't feel any kind of problem of spending, I don't know, most of my time out of the country, and that's what a fascinating...
But you're home. You're gonna make your home in
Israel.
Tel Aviv rather than in London or in New York.
Yeah, but you can fly. And I don't have a problem if I have to spend a full 2 months in New York. Take some place in a hotel, whatever. Or in London or in other place.
Before you go, what's your sense of the economy? Because that's good. What do you think's going on now?
I think the best guess is that we're
Turning
getting
around the
at,
corner.
we're turning a bit. I think, as Jeffrey and I were discussing before, I think there's a wall of money coming into the US. A wall of money coming in.
Just a gigantic amount of money.
A wall of money.
Pressure.
Stock market.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I had been thinking to myself 2 months ago, the interest rate, adjusted for inflation for 10 years is negative. Stocks are pretty cheap. Why isn't anybody in their right mind borrowing money to buy stocks? And now, sure enough, and so there should be a lot of deal activity. And now, sure enough,
yes,
in the last month, there's Dell.
But Dell is not
fund.
typical. Somehow he's doing it himself with some...
Who?
Dell.
Dell is not typical, but Heinz is typical.
Heinz. The
ketchup.
Kerry's wife.
Kerry's correct.
Yeah, and you saw what just happened.
Yeah. She sold?
I don't think she ever. I think she's pretty much out of it. But the Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
And a Brazilian beer guy.
Yeah.
Have just paying $23 million to buy it, and the mining companies are all getting bought up.
How could you not do it?
Combined.
When interest rates are this low, how can you not go into the takeover business? I mean, not me, but
I think it's starting, and I think it's starting to happen. So I think that plus the fact that housing is turning, plus the fact that while everybody's hysterical about the dysfunctionality of our government, the truth is we're a pretty dynamic society, and our government doesn't usually do insane things. I think it's a reasonably good time to be optimistic about us. I think it's a pretty bad time in Europe.
But for how long? Because in September there is election in Germany. I talked to Schauble and de Maizière. De Maizière is my colleague, but he was advisor to the Chancellor for a long time. And Schauble, I know him from before he was shot.
From before?
Before he was shot. He's now in a wheelchair. I still remember him walking on his feet. From both, I got the impression that Germany cannot do anything, politically speaking. They cannot do anything by throwing some short-term, kind of immediate small pieces to the Spanish or Italians or Greek in order not to break the whole thing before they. But after they can, and basically they will, because they are not doing a favor for the rest of Europe. Right. It's something.
But the people are still getting old.
Yeah.
They still don't want to work very hard, and it's not very innovative. Yeah. So I think that Southern Europe is going to become like Southern Europe to Europe will be like Southern Italy to Italy. Yeah. Poor, not very competitive, lots of people not working, dependent, but stable. And so I now think the odds that the euro will, who knows what will happen about Greece, but I think the odds that the euro will stay together is very, very high. But I think the odds that Europe will be a dynamic place are
Relatively
are
low.
not very high.
It means that ultimately culture matters. The Mediterranean culture is inferior to the kind of Scandinavia, the kind of post Reformation kind of
Asian culture, and maybe the cultures vary and they work well for 50-year periods, and theirs isn't. But I don't know about Japan. I think it's an island full of people getting old. The last thing they invented that was any good was the Walkman, and that was a long time ago. And so I think that they're probably going to try to pump up and print a lot of money. And
But this Abe is serious guy?
I don't think so.
Last time that he was in power, he was not serious.
I don't think so. I think he's, from everything I hear and read, I don't think he is I don't think he's a hugely serious guy. All the hedge funds are betting that the yen's going down and that the Japanese stock market's going up. I have got more confidence that the yen's going down over the medium run than I do that the Japanese stock market's going up. I think if there's a Paulson trade, Paulson, the guy who made
Paulson, I know him.
If there's a trade,
The one from the mortgage-backed security.
Right.
Go up and then fell down.
Right. If there's a trade like that in the next 3 years, I think it's short the Japanese long bond.
I agree.
Because I think that, maybe they'll recover, in which case they'll stop having 10-year bonds at 70 basis points. Maybe they'll have inflation, in which case they'll stop having long bonds at 70 basis points. Maybe they'll decide that they can't really fix their problems at all, in which case people will start to worry about whether they're going to get repaid, in which case they won't be at 70 basis points. So it seems to me that they're like...
What is 70 basis points? There's a spread of Japanese
that's the
bonds
bond.
over...
For 10 years, the interest rate is 70 basis points. So...
But it's been that way for a while. I mean, to be fair.
But
it's been very low
they're
for a
just,
very, very long
but
time.
they're
I think 5 years
somehow-
ago people would have said the same thing. You just got to be the same.
The Widowmaker is what
Yes.
they call the trade.
Correct.
But they already have for a long time, they have some 200% of
Right.
debts to GDP.
Right. So that's
They
why
keep kind of pouring money into the system.
I agree with it. I think
so that's
time's
why I
up.
said that if
Over the
there
next 3
is a
years.
success, it will be that. And when the last time they were crazy, there were more people who thought their stock market was nuts when it was at 25,000 than there were who thought it was nuts at 35,000, because by the time it got to 35,000, everybody had taken their crack at thinking that it was nuts and been wiped out, and so they thought they didn't understand and maybe it would keep going. And that's a little bit how the Japanese bond feels to me right now.
But tell me, Larry, we have more to worry about inflation as a result of all this supply of wider money, I know, measures,
I'm relatively...
or deflation. What's more worrying for you?
For the last 4 years, I've been very confident that it was deflation. As time passes, I move my view. I am still more worried about slowdown than I am about
Inflation.
a big increase in inflation in the United States. I don't think countries don't get big increases in inflation without labor demanding wage increases and tight labor markets and all of that. And I don't see any of that coming in the United States. My friend Stan Fisher did a good job in Israel.
Yeah.
according to most kind of observers, and very popular. He is extremely popular. People believe that he solved it, saved us from major disaster, and he's highly appreciated in the country. But there are here and there few quite important not economists, but players in the financial markets who think differently. That he did accumulate too much, he did not invest in the right time in gold, that the whole running of because he raised the reserve from some 20 billion to some 80 billion, major move, and that they complained that probably he could have done better if he would have invested more in gold or put much more capable people to run this nostro. It's a huge nostro. You have to run this money somehow, even without gambling. And some even argue that Arnold said that probably did identify too late that what the Swiss have done with their rate could be done with the shekel. So for some time he appeared as if he believed that you cannot fight the markets when in reality you can fight it on one side. If you are so popular that everyone wants to buy you. So there is certain critics among more sophisticated players, but basically the feeling is in flying colors he ends. He's going to leave in a short time.
Yeah, no, that was
3 months.
That was my impression,
Yeah.
that he had done a very good, that he had been very successful. But that's the thing.
I like him very much. He's sincere.
He's very sincere.
Yeah, and respectful. He thinks slow, but kind of in a systematic manner. Avoid kind of gambling. That's very important to our kind of collective character. Psyche
said
is
it
very
is-
hectic.
There's this phrase, a safe pair of hands.
Safe.
A safe pair of hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
gives very
stable,
much the
yeah,
feeling
safe.
of being a
Yeah.
of being a safe pair of hands. You know, the thing about I think it goes to sort of some of what you were talking about. All over the world, people have these huge quantities of money
Yeah.
that they mostly invest in U.S. treasuries
Yeah.
that pay zero.
Yeah. Or even
And-
negative, it's certainly.
Yeah, right. And everybody ought to be investing their stuff more aggressively in.
Yeah, but that's the scars from the recent events. People lose it's like a hair, they lose their self-confidence very easily. And what happened is a crisis of, if we could not predict this and no one warned us loudly enough, so probably now it's immediately they frozen. It's human nature.
That sounds right.
Okay, I'm going to spend some time with Ehud. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10.
Very good.
I'm picking you up at 10 in the morning.
You picking me up at 10 morning? I will see you then. Excellent. Ehud, this was very good. It was very good to
Thank
see
you.
you. I hope we'll have a chance one of these places or one
okay.
of these.
He's
One
going to
of
be a
the-
free man. So
one of these things.
In 3 weeks, I hope. I contemplate setting a departure ceremony and set a time, a day and time, because I'm afraid that under certain tricky developments, there will be no new government and we'll go to another election, and that's, theoretically it's possible. I don't want to find myself stuck.
Great to see you. Very nice to see you.
be back second.
Want more tea, sir?
Yeah, more tea if you can.
Yes, sir.
So?
How are you? He's a great mind.
You like
Extremely, yeah, I like him very much. Extremely sophisticated, clever, wise person. But what do you think? He has the appetite to go?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I believe it's a very good name. Could be very good. That's one of the ideas that I kind of exchange with
Terry.
Terry. I think it could be really interesting if we find a way to work together to make probably a pilot on one or two of them.
Yes. Larry is not liked by any. What he said, I said that you were going to come to dinner, and he said, "Did you read the article in Foreign Affairs?"
Yeah. And he read it?
Yes. He said to me,
Yeah.
"Did you read the article in Foreign Affairs?"
And what he said about it?
I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I didn't like it very much." He said, "Well, I come at it from a different angle." He said, "I didn't like it, but I identify because they say everything they say about him, they say about me."
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go through. I want to. I thought we would start earlier, but
It's okay, I have
hope
time.
you have enough.
I have-
you have patience.
I have
Yeah.
patience and I have time.
Yeah, okay. I want to go with you through a variety of opportunities that were kind of proposed, different levels of concreteness.
Okay?
But that I find it probably I want to hear your advice before I try to focus on
Okay.
an order of priority and probably to have your judgment on some of them and what it means. Now, unlike Larry, I can find fascinating adrenaline and satisfaction in just making money. Because
I knew that.
I
I already knew that.
I will spend it. That I will have the real adrenaline. If not for making, for spending it. Then it's spend it cleverly around the world. Okay. I want to start with what I brought you here. I brought you here a document of
The German takeovers.
a German kind of supposedly sophisticated takeover group that I was one of the founders of, and according to the real achievements that they had, according to this record, are those that they have made when I was still there. I don't know what they have done since then. Probably they won some court trial about some deal that they were involved in, and they were bypassed at the last moment. Probably the deal never materialized. It had to be with some sub-unit of Deutsche Telekom that operates here, T-Mobile. It was taken by AT&T, but
in a way the way to bypass them was by acting much more aggressively, and by this aggressive action, they raised the attention of the authorities, regulators here, and somehow it was blocked. But they kind of had still a complaint, and probably they got some 30 million or whatever from this complaint, and they ran themselves the office since then. Probably there are some areas that I don't know of, but basically I see something which reminds me very much what we had in mind 6 years ago when I left them as I entered the... Read it and try to ask me whatever question. I know the people, I know...
Who's the principal? Who's the main person?
Originally it was 4 people, one named Philip Scholler. You will find all the details about them.
Who do you like the most? Who do you have the best?
No, I have with the 2. We were 5 people.
Okay.
Philip Scholler, Christoph Bulfon, which is a lawyer, another entrepreneurial kind of guy, Hubertus Hoffmann, Dr. Hoffmann, and German origin Canadian guy.
And at the moment, do they have any money?
Named, allow me to, I will remind in a moment.
Okay.
And we were, basically 4 of us, we established a German operation, registers in the islands, BVI. That you will read it, it's
I will.
You will find it. Basically the idea was the following: there is suppressed value within the DAX, leading companies, from the biggest to the smallest, the leading DAX companies, because of 3 elements. One is the nature of governance of companies in Germany, with these 2 layers of board, which slows down dramatically and spreads the decision power and capability to take decisions. Secondly, the deep involvement of unions, that they are participants of the board and you can practically cannot move without them. And then passive shareholders. There is nothing like ICANN or whatever here. Extremely passive. Now, how do you know it's suppressed? You take any company, take BASF and compare it to DuPont or whatever here, a similar sized company, you will end up German company with half the market cap. Take any, I don't know, insurance big company, compare it to even to Warren Buffett, which basically is an insurance company that finance other activities, and you will end up at much lower. But even if you compare them to any successful North American companies, and do it the same with in every aspect, and that's, in fact, that's the case. They are much lower.
Yes.
Now, in order to do something with it, you have to change it. The idea is that you can easily take, by the rules, if you get 10% of the stock of a company, you become practically the owner of the company. You can call a special general assembly of the whole shareholding, and you can nominate a director. You can change the nature of it. Usually it doesn't work. If you're German, they look at you in quite bizarre way. If you're non-German, they will block you. So the idea is to establish a German, and this group, you will see they have a group of people about my age. We are former heads of leading DAX companies. They know the companies from within, they know the people who are there, the relationship and everything. They have a lot of informal, internal information about what happens, including when we I remember fighting with Volkswagen before Pirch took it over, and with Deutsche Telekom, when we were continuously acquainted with what really happens in any board meeting afterwards and so on. So to establish a Luxembourg or whatever operation for any given project, and let's say if you typically might need, I don't know, 1 billion in equity, another 1 billion in debt to create 10% of a company that with a market cap of 20 billion and start to operate. You will need more if it's a bigger company, but usually it's relatively small market cap. Think of, I don't know...
I understand all of it.
Munich Re.
I understand.
Very huge potential of money, like Berkshire Hathaway, but probably making 4 billion per year on 200 billion of assets. So by just making not very good insurer, but good manager of assets, you can do more. That's the idea. Now, they want to find players, or think that together we can find players who are ready and capable after they understand they can be behind this SPV, probably having convertible kind of bonds of the SPV.
Let me stop you for a second, because it's much more important in these when you initially describe these things, is the structure of where and whether SPVs or it's in Luxembourg, BVI, it doesn't mean anything. The only thing you need to focus on now, when you're talking about these types of businesses, are the numbers. So that the numbers are the numbers are the numbers. Nothing else is going to make a difference. So you need to tell me 5 things. A, have they performed before, and what's their returns? Because structurally it's different, and not. I'll look. But
you will find 2 examples, which are successful ones. Both of them happened when I was there, I will add to you some. If you have to ask me whether they are extremely successful till now, my answer is no.
Okay.
Otherwise, they are rich people, all of them, but not.
What do they want from you? So I want to know numbers, and what do they want from you? So those are my 2 biggest goals.
Numbers you will find. The idea to take anything from a small DAX company could be taken over by putting 300 probably 300 in equity and 300 in debt. You have 600 million, you can take over 6 billion. The very big ones might need 3.5 billion in debt and 3.5 billion in equity, which enables you to take even diamonds. In fact, the only one who did what GCG has as a vision is Ferdinand Pirch, when he took over Volkswagen. He ran ahead of us. We had been here trying to convince several big private equity companies and hedge funds to do exactly what he had done. They were much slower because he's several generations there and have already had a stronghold within the company. Probably he identified the opportunity, but he extracted clearly a real jump that still holds several years, probably 5, 6 years afterwards. Basically, think what Pirch have done with Volkswagen, and you will get a sense of what they plan. Whether they didn't or not, that's probably the reason why they want me. They want me to be able to somehow help them, to convince somehow for whom these amounts of money are not frightening. If we convince, for example, the sovereign fund of be it Singapore or the Emirates or China to be with us, or even a major Russian group to be with us, the GCG provides the front in Luxembourg, and they are behind it. They can, because if some sovereign fund will take over a major DAX company, it could end up politically.
But so they want you to go to the sovereign funds.
To help them to convince the sovereign fund or extremely rich individual.
Right.
Like Tom Pritzker, for example, or
I just
Yuri
wrote down
Miller.
Tom's name because I talked to him this morning.
Yeah. Probably a guy that can, if he wants, to take over a major
I understand,
German.
but what is your real advantage for them? The fact that you know rich people and the fact that you have
I can open the door, I can access, I can
sovereign
be
fund.
there, I can. I cannot be at the core of the
I understand. You're the door opener.
yeah, in a way, and someone that they respect, it
Right.
give them certain respect, as you said about this blue
Right. Mountain.
mountain. So basically, that's and they know me and they trust me because we work together. I help them to go to Bruce Kovner and to Leon Black and to
Right.
others and start to see
Right.
what they are in. For example, they work very hard to convince Russians and they failed until now. And I think that probably I can convince, one of the guys think of two of the guys that get now with BP 10K. Altogether, they got some four of them, they got some 28 billion. They have to put it somewhere. The story with Germany is quite clear. It's the best performing operation on the manufacturing floor and a very slow, not creative on the top.
Right, but look, but Germany's always trades at a discount to the States. I'm not sure the comparison of German company valuations and earning price multiples is an issue with taxes and unions. You can't fire people there so easily. But my concern is that they want you to open the door. I understand. It's not real. It's not really your expertise.
Yeah, but
It's your. I understand. You see, your capabilities. I think you.
What they basically say.
You're going to make a lot of money. See,
make.
You're going to make a lot of money. You're definitely going to make a lot of money.
I'm
the
not
question,
going.
You will. You're definitely going to make a lot of. You will make money. The question is which place you do it with.
Okay, look, I will show, after you read it, I will show the concrete proposal that they sent to me. They gave an example. They say, we are ready, we are going to get, when we put the money, assume for a moment you succeed in bringing us someone who can put $1 billion on equity for some project.
Right.
Big enough. Think, for example, of the China investment company. They run probably 400 billion. They can afford doing it if it's important.
Yes.
Okay, assume that we convince them. They say, okay, with the debt it's 2 billion.
I understand.
Out of the 2 billion, we got 3%.
I understand.
We are ready to give you 12 million.
Right.
Out of the 60 million we get immediately, and then smaller amounts down the
Right.
Makes
So
sense
what Tom asked me this morning,
Yeah.
and he said he told you at Davos,
Yeah.
was he thought you should make a list of his words, was
Metrics,
he said,
as I told you.
yes, but who has IOUs to you? Is that who's out of the people in the past who you think you're close to? He said he really wanted you to make this list of this person owes me a favor, this person owes me his life, this person owes me his job, this person owes me.
Yeah, okay.
And so you got to work it backwards and say, here is my, instead of thinking about what the opportunities are first, because right now you're focused on opportunities.
Yeah.
I need you to focus on your
Okay.
personal balance sheet in terms of competences. What's your real strengths? What's the liability? One of the liabilities is you're 71 years old, so you can't be in a business that takes 20 years to make money.
Yeah.
We have to make money in the next 3 years. So, people, competence, things. So, I talked to Ian yesterday. I asked him to come.
Yeah.
He flew in from London. He's great for an hour.
What was his impression from the...
So same thing. Because he's very connected to Samsung. Very.
Who?
Samsung. Korean.
Samsung?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
They pay him $3 million a year.
Just to make PR.
Yes. He has 10 companies like that now.
No.
Okay? So he said there's this company called Lookout. He said he mentioned it to you. Lookout.
Yeah. You told me.
Yep. He thinks they'll pay you $2 million to be on the board.
Yeah. That would be good.
I understood.
Yeah.
He thought there was two cyber companies, Lookout and, even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel. And everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts
He
sort of
looks-
strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks there under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir. Pallen. Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. And Lookout.
Palantir, Palantier?
Yes.
How you write Thiel? Thielley?
Thiel.
Lly.
No. Thiell.
Okay.
So he thought that Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, that's what they pay Larry $1 million a year. Just to advise them.
Andreas and
Andreessen, Andreessen, and Horowitz.
Howard.
Horo, Horowitz.
Horowitz.
Yes.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
What, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner Perkins?
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
Yeah.
So those two companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now, in the next 3 weeks, if you're going to leave. Those two right away. But let's go through more through. I need to see the numbers here before I have, so I can be intelligent.
See the numbers. What is tempting there? That I know the people, and basically, you don't know more than one success on this scale, according to the contract that they proposed to me, to get basically much richer than I am now.
I understand.
Getting some $20 or $30 million along several years.
I understand.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two, a Swiss private bank. I'm going to meet with them in Zurich next week, or this coming. I'm flying tomorrow to Europe and going to meet with them. They basically asked me to help them to join something very similar to what, if I understand well, Tony or earlier Schultz was doing for JP Morgan.
Okay.
Namely,
I understand.
running certain kinds of international advisory board that they don't have now to help them to push business.
Yes.
And they are very clear what they would like me to help them to approach effectively and convince people and players, family. They're like many other banks. They are moving or want to concentrate on high net worth individuals, family offices, some extremely big operations that for some reason have to invest. They have quite known name. They are not as small and private and almost kind of
confidential like Pictet or Lombard. And as a result, cleaner. I tried to check, I didn't find anything about them, but they told me, frankly, that they don't want to work with Americans.
Right.
Because even if I bring
Nobody works with Americans.
they told me it doesn't make sense from reputational point of view to work with Americans because they want to know everything, they want to publicize. It's not easy to the customer, not easy for us. So they want me to help them to reach sources of money to manage in whatever, Latin America.
How big are they now? How big are they now? Do you know?
I think between 150 to 250 billion in assets that they are managed. Mainly wealth, kind of private or the companies' wealth. I don't know exactly, they didn't reach this level. And they they feel, for example, they don't know even how to approach Russia because they didn't like, they still feel that some of the Russians are bad and they shouldn't approach them, but some others are good enough because money runs their operations outside of Russia and became quite legitimized in the financial world in Europe.
What's the name? Can you tell me the name? Or are you
No,
close?
they asked me, probably I will tell you in a few days. I don't,
No,
they just asked me not to. But think of it, there are several, probably half a dozen or a dozen
But they're
operations.
not. Have they been under investigation by the states?
No.
You sure?
No.
That doesn't
Yeah.
sound right.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right.
Why?
Because I can't imagine that there's an institution that of $150 billion that has not been under investigation by the states. Just so it just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, okay. I will recheck it with them directly if you think.
No, you need to.
Find some. Okay, probably after the
You
meeting.
can ask him.
Probably after the meeting.
Fine.
In 3 days, I will be.
Fine.
It will be behind me.
Fine.
I will find a way to ask. They were not under investigation for something wrong. Probably the American authorities approached them like they approach all other big firms.
Okay, but there is, in general terms, every Swiss bank of big size like that has been under investigation. So it's a question, if they no longer, the question you need to ask, did you ever deal with Americans? Now, if they dealt with Americans in the past, they're under investigation. Everybody who's touched an American is under investigation.
Okay.
So they might not be now because they told what normally happened, like there's a bank called Wegelen, Wegelen.
Yeah.
They were the big ones. Julius Baer, big ones. If you had an American, they told all the Americans, you must take your account out. We're closing it. All the Swiss banks.
Yeah.
We're no longer allowed to have American clients.
Yeah.
But the government says, look, I need to know who had accounts at your bank because they have not paid their taxes.
Yeah.
And we want their names. So there's been a big fight for most banks. So the banks said, we can't, under Swiss law, we can't give you the names. But we can give it to the Swiss government.
And the Swiss government probably is going to yield to the Americans
Yes.
and order to give.
Yes.
By then, all the banks will give. But all this, I believe that Lombard and the Pictet it was in the open media that they were under certain investigations.
You understand?
But Credit Suisse and the
UBS.
also had been under.
Yes, big.
And the Wegland and
Wegland, the worst so far has been Wegland. Wegland
under investigation.
No, they pled guilty.
Uh-huh.
They already were
And
charged.
the others, the Julius Baer.
Not yet. No, they want.
Not yet pleaded guilty or not yet under investigation?
They're all under investigation.
Yeah, okay.
Not yet charged. Everyone's under investigation. Some have been charged because it's how abusive. Really, what happens is this: you're under investigation. Congratulations, you're under investigation. You cooperate with me,
So you are okay.
We won't bother you. You want to tell me to take a walk, I will indict you in New York. If we indict you in New York, you're not allowed to do business with American banks anywhere in the world. So you're out of business. So you either give us what we want.
If you are not cooperating,
You're dead.
you will be ordered kind of
Charged.
get a charge here,
Yes.
and then automatically anyone who is
Charged. You have a problem. So Wegland paid a fine of $75 million.
who
Wegland Bank, Wegelan,
paid how much?
$75 million. UBS paid $750 million. $750. But they paid 75.
But even I've noticed even
Wait.
RBS paid
Yes,
now
but
for whatever.
the
for
different trade,
Libor.
but different trade. That was a rate rigging. But here's I'm going to pay $75 million and give you the names of every American who had an account. So that's very much that sets the tone moving forward. If the bank has given up American names, people are a little more hesitant because we know it's like Mubarak, right? You through the last anybody who came to you the last time, Americans. Maybe it's my country. It's Russia who wants to know, are we having it? Are these managed accounts? Are they private accounts? Are they secret accounts? They're all. So you need to know.
Yeah. The Swiss banking system seems to be fully protected, and clients know it somehow. So they still trust that it's easier than in other places probably. And it's not places like
You see, the nice part
in Cyprus you find better.
The nice part about Switzerland for people, if you have $100 million and you have it in Switzerland, you don't want a return. You don't care if your money makes money.
You don't care if it doesn't make.
Right,
Why?
you don't care. Because you shouldn't, it's safe.
Yeah.
So you have it there for safety, not for profit.
Yeah.
So it's very
But
easy.
they are somehow taking some of the money as a management fee, or
Yes.
you're saying they probably do it and they let you get very little,
Very,
but
very
you
little.
don't let more, so they.
In fact, if they make 2%, they
The
take
deal is
2%.
that they take 2%. They take 2%, give you 0.5%, all satisfied because what you really bought is safety.
Right.
But if that's the case, it might not be extremely complicated to help them to
That's
raise
correct.
money.
That's correct.
Unless they are under such an investigation and end up
Right.
to be at the wrong side.
Correct.
But why should they be on the wrong side if they understand what you have said? So everyone ultimately, it doesn't have, it's an issue of survivability, so. Hello? 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 בסדר, מה אתה אומר? בסדר, אני פה בתוך פגישה. בסדר גמור. בואי, אני אתן לך, תרימי לי טלפון מחר, בסביבות 10 בבוקר, ונראה, נקבע מחר, מתישהו, בסביבות 4 אני חושב, אני נוסע על שדה תעופה. הלו. הלו. כן. הלו, דברי איתי מחר בבוקר בסביבות 10. הלו. Yeah. Okay. Let's think of
Go after you sit with them.
We'll come better later to it. They want, basically, they seems to be interested. We never reached a point where they will tell me, okay, we want to send you an offer. They know that I'm going to leave only in several weeks. But probably after this meeting in Switzerland, they might send me a certain paper proposing that I'll be there. I don't know what they have in mind in terms of compensation. I don't want, I assume that they will find a way to give me a certain amount as a kind of a basis, certain coverage of expenses could be quite high because they have to satisfy, in order to meet with their possible clients, to have to spend some time, I know, in Sardinia or in Gstaad or in Punta del Este or whatever.
Did you talk numbers at all?
No, never. And probably certain element of kind of performance or results-based bonus or compensation. Probably stretch over time. I think that there is basically, I didn't talk to them about it, but...
And who are you speaking, I mean, you're speaking to the president or the owner?
I spoke, they came to my house as a kind of just to our place in Tel Aviv, asked to meet with me. One of the probably number 3 in the organization, together with one of the probably the then CEO. Later on, I met with the CEO, and he spent 45 minutes with me for the first time. I know indirectly that he was quite impressed, and he made up his mind that he wants to see me there. And he asked me to meet with them, and to visit with them and to meet. Okay, so we will meet. I assume that he will cover some of the issues. Probably it will come to a point where I will tell him, okay, if you're interested, send me an offer. I don't know how to continue from here. And I would appreciate if you give me some of your assessments or knowledge about how much they might propose, how much I might ask for, what could be something which is not
outrageous.
Outrageous, kind of trying to use me, so I don't. They basically seems to respect me because it's their initiative. So they came to me.
Do you want to get an offer while you're still in the government, or would you rather wait until you get out?
I prefer to tell them, send me an offer after the 14th. I don't want something will be on record before.
Right.
I will tell you later on that in regard to security, there was also some quite important player in this arena that approached me and that they wanted to sit tomorrow, to bring the founder, the president, whatever, and to sit down and start to work on list of whatever agencies or states that I will start to talk to as part of their proposal to establish some operations outside this country.
Where's that company from?
It's one of the, once again, they also, I will tell you their name probably in a few days. They're one of the leaders of service providers in the internet.
Okay.
And they feel that they can use their security. Right. They access and their control of the movement of material in the internet, the cloud, enables them to create, it gives them a huge leverage. And they're in quite good relationship here, but they think that I can help them to develop the same kind of relationship with many other countries.
Okay.
because they can find or identify the cyber attacks or deployment for attacks much earlier than the firewalls or those who are looking just around the machines themselves.
Now, do you? My understanding.
I mentioned it because only because let me go. Yeah, I mentioned it just to tell you that I deliberately delayed them at certain price because they want to. They also came to me. I didn't know. I knew the name, but I didn't know what they are doing. They came to me. They asked to meet with me. I didn't yet see the number one person. I see the president. I didn't see the CEO, the real guy who runs it. But it seems that they're interested. And I delayed them too. I told them I cannot do it. It's not proper. Too many people in the room will end up that I started making business when I was still Mr. Defense, especially related to security. But I go back to that. I don't want a proposal before I end. But I want to draw from you certain feelings. What could be reasonable for them, and whether they might ask me to be exclusive. Does it make sense if America is not part of it? So why should they have any?
For the next month, it's the same attitude, which is, look, I came here. I wanted to listen to what you have to offer.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate because. As you, I have to. I'm going to make a decision by April.
Yeah.
Where I will devote my time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a decision before April 1st.
Yeah.
When's your last day?
It's last day is 14 of
March.
Of March. If Bibi succeeds.
Is it possible? Is it possible he doesn't succeed?
It has no precedent, but it can happen. Theoretically, it can happen.
Mm.
If then I'm going to lose $250,000 just for the first 6 weeks by have to cancel certain lectures that I already committed myself. I consider even to retire, to sack myself, to resign on the 14th. But it won't be read properly in Israel. People immediately will identify. They will find where I met, and the only thing I can say, okay, I planned it in advance. I cannot. But people say, what will happen if 2 days afterwards Syria will collapse? There is no experience.
And what is the truth there?
I know it happens in Syria. Syria is going to collapse. I don't know where, when.
No, but what happens if Syria? I guess if America's not going to go after Iran soon. I don't think. If something happens that's dramatic, if Hezbollah does something goofy, who else is going to? Here's one of my issues. I mean, even though you're disliked as a politician, if Israel has a military something or other, who's going to do it besides you?
No, there will be, once there is a defense minister, he will do it, probably short of perfect, but he will do it with the government. He's not alone, there's an arm force. I worry only about the technical situation that might be created. I hope it won't, if nothing happens. And then there is another round, and if the other round fails as well, after another, probably the mid of April, another round is failing. So within 90 days, namely May, June, July, at the beginning of July, there will be another election, after which there is another, it can end up the whole summer. So I don't want to be stuck there.
Right.
I prefer to impose upon Bibi to nominate someone else the 14th, even if temporary. And just say, okay.
Because it's important that the first offer be high. So let's assume they say $3 million a year. Yeah. Tony gets $5 million from JP Morgan.
Yeah, but JP Morgan is much bigger operation. It's one of the biggest.
That's what I'm saying. So we know it's not going to be more than 5.
Yeah.
So the number is going to be between 1 and 4.
5, yeah.
Between
Or
1
1
and
and
4.
4, yeah.
That's the real number.
Okay.
So if they believe you have lots of other alternatives, I think they'll offer you 1.5 to 2 to start off with. And we'll negotiate, right, we're going to say, it's not, can't. Sorry. I thought you were serious. I thought you were a serious player. If $1.5 million, I can make that in 5 speeches for 5 days a year. I don't need it.
Yeah.
In real life, though, once we really know, because you can't have yourself involved in a bank that does funny things.
What is funny?
Illegal.
I don't think that that's the case.
I don't know, but you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
we need to know that you can't.
How can I know and how can I present this? The very question raised doubts about their position. Is it?
Well, once you tell me the name, we can have some sense.
Okay.
Who are their big clients? Are their big clients Africans, Russians, South
No.
Americans?
No, that's exactly. They are not. There are many Europeans.
But, the Italians have a problem.
Yeah, they told me, quite frankly, that they hesitated to enter Russia because of reputational issues,
Right.
and that they are not almost. They are relatively weak in Latin America. They think that they have to go there, or Latin America and Central America, and they don't even know how to start to think about China. And they think that it's a rising power in terms of wealth.
Do they have any other branches, any other countries?
Yeah, they have probably hundreds of people working out.
No,
I don't know.
but do they have other branches?
What's the
Like a real business in Singapore? Do they have a bank in Singapore? Do they have a bank?
I don't know. I don't think that they have banks in the normal sense.
I need to know more.
I don't think that they have. I don't think that they are running. Retail for sure they don't have.
I need to, but
And they don't have. I never see them on the kind of under signing under signing operations or whatever. Probably they are doing it privately behind it.
So instead of talking theory,
Yeah.
when you're free to tell me the
Yeah,
details,
I will tell
I
you.
can give you real information.
Assessment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably it will happen mid next week, probably Wednesday,
And the security company when?
after the 15th.
No, they won't talk to you before that.
No, they talked to me. I met with their president.
Right.
They sent a guy who is associated with them in Israel to talk to me. And they came indirectly, they came to me indirectly and asked for a meeting now, here or in their headquarters.
What country?
Here.
It's an American company.
Yeah, American big company. It's quite big. So it's they also want, but I cannot, they didn't mention numbers, but from what I know, to be a member of the board of American company, it could be, I don't know, $500,000
Right.
a year or so. Probably 300,000, probably $500,000, depends on it.
Right.
And okay, if they do it just to get it, they probably will ask, according to what they raised for this meeting, they are very extremely practical people. They want me to help them because they believe that outside of this continent, in this continent they are quite well connected. But once again, I noticed that they raised the eyebrows when they learned whom I know personally here from the people they are fighting to convince the hierarchy underneath them to work. But
Is it a public company?
yeah, publicly traded.
Okay.
But they don't have this kind of access to Germany.
Right, but
So-
publicly traded companies are easier because most of the information is available.
Yeah.
So we know what we can find out what all the board members make. That's by looking.
I don't think they want me on the board.
Okay.
I think that probably they want. They even left. They told the Israeli guy left it open. Ask Barak what he would like to. They want to be member or head of an international advisory board or advisor to us, consultant, whatever. But we know exactly what we want from him.
Right.
we want him to help us with his authority on security and
Right.
whatever, when quite advanced intelligence community was there, they know
Right.
whatever they need about me. And say we believe that if we arrange a list of countries,
Right.
that he can approach on top level.
Do they know your last name was to be Brog?
Mike,
Yes.
probably. But they expect me to create a list of the working schedule and to bring their people, to start to convince other people to.
But those things again are easy because if in fact if we know what you're selling and how much you're you're selling is worth.
Yeah, and
now
here once again, I think that the real story is what kind of model could be shaped that will compensate me a long time, kind of perpetuities, whatever, in regard to contracts that I held them. We set targets that are exclusive in the sense that I will approach them, and if something goes up from it, I will be
no question.
That's the second story. Now, there is a third one that I will share with you because it comes together with something that I owe you, kind of. I approached an American CEO, it's originally German, Klaus Kleinfeld. Is the head of a company called Alcoa now, aluminium, biggest public company. I know him from the time that he was here heading of Siemens America, under Heinrich von Pierer, who was a friend of mine, head of Siemens.
Right.
And Dr. von Pierer asked me a favor that I will go meet with this young person and will give him my impression of the guy because he wants to consider whether he can jump him over the heads of everyone on the board and put him as his replacement for the scandal. And I came here, I was quite impressed by the guy, and I had several meetings with the rest of the board members, I saw them as well. And I told him I think it could be good, and he did it, he took him and jumped him. And I'm still wondering, I'm not sure that Klaus knows all the story, but probably later on he became acquainted with it somehow through Dr. von Pierre himself. But I met with him several times in business gatherings when I was in private life, and we even tried to start some initiative in Moscow, some parking systems that Siemens will be the prime contractor. We will create a relationship with Luchkov and Yelena Baturina and all the Russian leadership to. And I asked him to send him something similar there. We met, he brought his number 2 kind of operational assistant, a guy who once worked in the White House later on with one of the consulting groups of the former NSC and they also say basically, tell us what you want. It's okay, we like you, he didn't use the I owe you, but he said, I like Barak very much, great person. Tell me what way you want to be involved. Probably once again it might end up with certain kind of several 100,000 that he can decide to pay if I give them, I don't know, whatever, consultancy about protecting their minds around the world, security, or whatever. But that doesn't make a lot of money unless I can find some way once again to bring together achievements that I can help them to do, either in upstream or downstream.
But they will know more about what you can do for them than you can guess. So what you need to, that's what I'm saying, you need to have them say, look, it's the same thing. I don't have that much time. I'm 71 years old. I have 5 years of being I can travel around for 5 years active. I'm going to have to make a decision about how I spend my time. If you think I'm going to be an asset, if you think I'm an asset for you, you should send me a proposal, but it should be, I need to receive it by March 20th, between the 14th and the 20th. Because by April 1st, I'm going to make decisions.
Yeah.
That's it. No more talking, we're done. They know how much you're worth to them. But the more you say, well, you can't ask, will you pay my expenses, or
Yeah.
just send me a proposal. Send me an offer between the 14th and the 20th, and by April 1st, I'll give you an answer.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
no discussion, because the offer will come in higher than you think because of that. I like the security company more than I like the bank. The security company, you can't get in trouble.
Wait a minute. I will. Let's continue,
Yes.
and then we'll compare all the.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it will in March.
Yes, March 14th and the 20th. As if you're giving them an order.
Yeah. March 31st, and on April 1st.
You want an offer between the 14th and the 20th. Send me an offer between the 14th and the 20th.
21st.
Okay.
21st. In the 14th.
You negotiate
21st.
with me already.
Yeah, and on April 1st, I will
Give you an answer.
give you an answer. Actually, send me an offer, however, no, don't mention however detailed, nothing, just send me an offer.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said basically in the bank, they might propose something between 1 and 4 million.
Right.
Probably. And probably some mechanism of bonus. Will they ask for exclusivity?
No.
No, they can't, basically,
No.
because they are not dealing with North America, and they're not dealing.
Right.
And basically, even if they would ask...
They might ask for a
I
bank
could-
exclusivity.
Yeah, I could easily explain to them that some other activities might create synergies. It's not... It's better, not less.
Again, no. The answer is, it's not. I'm not good. I can't do an exclusive.
Yeah.
Don't defend yourself. Don't explain
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, I can give them
Give them less than more.
branch and yeah,
Would you consider exclusivity? No. 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 You need to be seen, especially the military.
Yeah,
This is
I fully understand. Okay, let me continue. A fund. I was approached by a guy, a friend of mine, was a soldier of mine, from 20 years ago, in a unit that once commanded 7. He's now a small size kind of real estate businessman here in New Jersey, owning some kind of parking operations here.
right.
But he's well connected, up to Biden, you know, the people that connect interest in the democratic politics and so on. Lovely guy, charming guy. He came to me and said the following: I feel very strongly that small funds, probably between 3 to 8 or 9 billion dollars in size, will be extremely interested. They, not the big ones who have their own foreign ministries, but the small ones would be interested in having you just
because of your name, you can go, something very similar to what you told me about Blue Mountain. And it seems that without even checking with them, he told me I know one or two of those guys that might easily want to pay you $1 million just to use your name, or $2 million to tell that you are one of them, and it works for them because otherwise no one takes it. He mentioned one name.
Are you going to tell me that name, or you're not going to tell me that name either?
No, Jimmy Walker. But the name sounded to me something bad, because that was a guy that once, I met him several years ago here, and he was somehow dealing with running money for the Assad family or something like this.
For the Assad family?
Yeah. Jimmy Walker, probably the name. I will tell you the rest of the names as well, long before the March 14, let's say. I don't know even the name of the fund. Probably I will know the name tomorrow.
The hedge fund is here?
It's not hedge funds, probably private equity. For souls.
So you think it's private equity?
Probably. But the name is Jimmy Walker. You can't find too many Jimmy Walker. I might be able to tell you tomorrow more details on what this, or probably there are others, I don't know what he has in mind. I'm going to meet this guy.
Sergeant?
Relatively young man.
Was he a Washington firm?
Yeah, probably. Either Washington or New York. I met him here. Wealth management, yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably. How old is he? No, that one is too old. If he has so many kids, how old he might be?
He got married in 67, so he's 47. He's probably 70. 65, 70?
50?
65, 70?
No.
Okay.
No. Can't be that.
All right, why don't you get me the real...
Yeah, but wait. I will tell you tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow by noontime, I will call you and tell you.
Got it.
I'm going to meet with this guy. Okay. But think of it once again.
Is it Golden City?
Probably. How he looks.
No, can't find it. Too many black people named Jimmy Walker. All right, tomorrow you tell me.
Probably. I will tell you that. Okay. Now, the other idea is what Terry raised. Can you tell me in one word what do you think about it? The idea that we will establish certain operation, probably together, probably with him and with me and with I don't know, whether you are leaders or kind of want to, probably you are behind the scenes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that it's something viable, or basically it will take years to develop the reputation, whatever?
No, it's viable.
Yeah. Because I remember Kissinger, you mentioned Kissinger. Kissinger once told me that he took to him, whether probably it was Ehud Barak or whoever was before him, that it took him probably 1.5 years to make the first 1 million.
That was.
Yeah, he told me, I once told you that you wanted to consult probably Westinghouse or GE for making turbines for something.
No, because what did he? That's what I said. That was why I said Kissinger was a policy, strategy policy.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means everything and nothing. So it's too long. Nobody knows what it is. In your case and in his case, it's security.
Yeah, and economy.
Economy. It's very simple. It's a totally different deal. Yes. Yeah, no, I think.
So you think it's viable?
I think
So probably we'll have to set, without asking you to send me an offer to sit down together with Terry first, later on with.
Terry's coming. Are you going to see him, or you're not going to see him tomorrow?
He's here.
He'll be here tomorrow.
Here?
Not here. I'm leaving in the morning. But he'll be in New York tomorrow, Terry. He's coming in for 3 o'clock, I think.
Probably. I don't know. Probably.
I see him Monday night.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be.
I'm going to see Larry tomorrow. I'm taking Larry to Florida.
Look, I think the following. Start to think it over with Terry. What could be the structure, what could be the idea, what could be the kind of services, and what kind of the business model, how do we make money out of it? Should it be a contract with the government, kind of advice? That's also something that I've heard from you, or from Terry, I believe, that Tony Blair, for example, is doing some probably 11 million per year from the Kazakhstan government just to give them advice, to help them with lobbying in some NGOs and UN organizations.
Tony has turned funny. So I don't know what Tony's doing for money. And I don't know if the money Tony is getting is actually to Tony or to somebody else.
Who could it be?
Sorry?
Who could it be?
Because it goes to Tony because they need help, so Tony gets to pay some of the money to somebody else. Because I hear gigantic numbers giving to Tony, 5 million here, 10 million here, 5 million there. Tony's not making $30 million a year.
Yeah, but he became quite, I can judge from the style of his watches.
Yes, but he's making 10 million a year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but probably he get the money and he leaves some of it with others. Yeah, probably some of the providers.
But again, see, Tony is much more. You have, for the moment, and that's one of the things is we have to do it fast.
Yeah, because it fades away
very fast. Very fast.
Yeah, I would not have an opportunity to say, to talk this way to
That's correct.
firms, but once.
Correct.
Right now. Yeah,
Right.
I fully understand the opportunity. Okay, but this one is also something that we have to discuss, because we can do it beyond anything else, and it can end up being both the advice for them, and probably part of the model is the capacity to provide opportunities to some. Think of some. We are advising some country which have kind of bauxite, and we get the
Don't worry about that. So just think about
opportunity to propose to Kleinfeld mine kind of aluminum field.
Look, Ian Osborne's 29 years old.
Yeah.
29. So Samsung pays him. He has 10 clients, pay him $3 million, and he does investments for him.
He does.
So one like Samsung.
Founder fees for investment.
No more. No, they said because he's internet.
Yeah.
They said we're going to give you $100 million. Find us internet companies to buy, and you get 30% of the profit. That's separate from his $3 million a year, and he doesn't know anything. This is brand new for him. and he doesn't have your stature. So that's the concept. It's $3 million a year, and if you find investment.
Yeah, but he's something else. I've noticed that he's socialite. He's a kind of man who entertains himself, entertains people around, enjoy. He genuinely enjoy being in continuous party with people and work, you know. He's in a way a workaholic of social relationship, where I'm a little bit more like Obama. If I have to choose, I prefer to sit alone in a room rather than to intervene. And it's not, I cannot argue that it's a forte of mine to entertain people. I can be serious with them, I can.
But that's why, since you're not an entertainer, you can't explain yourself. That's my point. You have to, you seem to be military, and you need to keep that in mind. You don't want to be what they want. You need to be what they think of you. Yeah, they think of you as military. It has to be crisp, clear, and precise.
I'll come back to Ian Osborne. Okay. So start to think about it. Yes. I think that it's a good idea. Now, Pritzker asked me the same. Tell me, try to make a matrix.
Yes.
Saying what are your kind of areas where you have certain genuine.
Do you have any? Can you help him in Iraq? No. Okay.
Not really. Probably within the Kurdish area, yes, but with the Iraqi government, I don't believe.
Okay.
No, I don't.
And not Turkey.
I can do it indirectly. For example, I met yesterday David Petraeus. I'm one of the only ones who keep kind of respecting him in public.
Where is he?
He's now, I met him with his wife, with Holly, in a gathering that Katie Reynolds arranged some
Catholic
dinner for me on the roof of the Adams, and he stood up to congratulate me.
Right.
I was quite embarrassed, I didn't know how to respond, but we talked a little bit. He's one of the most respected people, clearly have connections in Iraq. I can create a contact with him.
Tom already knows him pretty well. Tom thinks
he doesn't need me.
Right. But he also thinks he's potentially toxic.
Probably, in terms of his background. Okay. I can easily find.
What's he going to do, Petraeus?
I believe he's looking for opportunities in the private equity.
Mm-hmm.
Probably to join hands with one of the players. Private equity help them take some money.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was his name? The commander of the Balkans that.
General Clark. Wesley Clark.
Wesley Clark wrapped himself with a flame. And also sometimes.
What's Panetta going to do?
I don't know. He told me I'm going to invite you to give a speech, not for free, in the Panetta Foundation in something. He wants to rest, but we contemplated establishing an operation where Jeremy Basha was his aide,
right,
and Yoni Koren will be our office and sensors, and they will bring ideas where either one of us can do something. We do it together, establish some kind of.
You like Panetta?
I like him very much. I like him, I trust him, we can work together very. That could be interesting as well. If I can, he told me I will teach you golf, and he plays the piano.
He does? See, even Panetta, you and him.
Yeah, could be better than with Ferrer. Probably. I can raise it with Panetta.
That's a strong deal.
Yeah. Okay, but he basically he feels quite satisfied. I didn't. He told me I probably will do some boards, some whatever.
Okay.
He's kind of guy, I believe that he's about my age, probably a year older or younger, I don't know. So he probably might think that he's, okay, it's great to live in Carmel or Monterey, wherever he lives, at a farm, whatever. So the way that he raised it signaled to me that he preferred that some younger guys will do most of the job for us, and we step in when it's becomes absolutely necessary to make sure that something is closed. Okay. So
and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the guy who was testified.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Dempsey is still in service, but I can, for example, take Mullen.
Right.
Mullen, he might know, is now in business, or McChrystal. McChrystal is also could be toxic in a way, probably in different way.
So, but who do you have the best relationship with? Pineda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Among the security
Yes.
people in America. Yeah, by far. I know Gates for a longer time, but he's a kind of cold fish. We are friendly, we were there. I visited him when we were both in. He headed some university somewhere in a remote place in A&M University in Texas.
If Iran goes nuclear,
Yeah.
sometime in the next 3 years, how much do you think, you at one point had suggested that it would, everybody looks up to somebody above them, but in the case of you and Bibi, there was nobody to look up to, we have to look in the mirror.
Only there's someone there, but we cannot.
You can't see.
Recently,
He's not answering the phone. Will it be seen, do you think, that you guys didn't do what you were supposed to do?
That's not clear. Depends on many. Quite probably, the same people who was ready to lie on the road to block us from doing it will ask, why the hell didn't you overcome all your or our hesitation? You can expect anything, but I don't know. I don't think so, because basically we never pretended that you can destroy it fully at one stroke. Mm-hmm. So the counter argument could always be, okay, we could delay them by 2.5 years or 3 years or whatever, and you cannot know for sure for how long. But leave it. We have now more important. We want.
No, what I want to know is, what's your risk? I'm trying to think about. Yeah. That's where I'm going. Are you doing
I'm not
something?
going to be blamed for the fact that it's probably more the president.
Okay.
Not really. I don't think. So with Pritzker, he asked me try to vertically, horizontally.
But Tom uses the phrase IOUs.
Yeah.
So who owes you a favor? Who owes you something? That's what he said to me 10 times already.
Okay, so it's an example is Klaus Kleinfeld, but there is no way to prove it or to really leverage. It's about a certain sentiment in the mind of someone, rather than a compelling need to do something. When I left Prime Minister, the role of Prime Minister, Nazarbayev felt this way toward me, because in several international gatherings I praised him, and he knew that I talked to Clinton and told him it doesn't make sense to behave with him. He cannot jump immediately into the Maryland standards, and even the Maryland standards were not that perfect. Quite recently. And, so he felt this way. And once I used it, I went there some 7 years ago, brought with me an Israeli billionaire with a Kazakhstan billionaire, and they waited until then, we had that, and he asked, what do you want? And they described some big operation to take gas and oil from Turkmenistan across their area, and nothing ended up. And since then, 10 years, it's a long time. I cannot think of someone who owes me something. I have very good relationship that stems out of certain sentiment with Putin. I can approach it, I can talk to him in a way that few, I believe, dare to or feel free to do, and I always find him responsive, very warm, very kind of, can see me from a long distance.
But did you have a relationship when you were prime minister or defense minister with someone from Turkish government, someone from the Jordanians?
Yeah.
Who you who was it? Before you used to have a good relationship with Suleiman, right?
With?
Egypt's Suleiman? What was
Yeah,
that?
Omar Sliman.
Right.
Yeah, with Omar
Now,
Sliman I worked for years.
He liked you.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, yeah. But he really owed us.
But
He owed us his career in a way. And Mubarak owed us a lot in more than one way.
right.
So they were in a sensitive moment. You can always look at him at the eye and remind him that you remembered our relation that started now for many, many years, and it became based on mutual trust and readiness to
Yes.
extract a hand to each other at critical points, and it will immediately
Right.
bring to his memory. I don't think.
So that's the question. So who else? Let me get this cookie. Who else like that? Because that's the thing Tom was asking. That's the type of person. I mean, maybe it is Putin. Cookie?
Putin is a guy.
What happened to Suleiman?
You dead.
Oh.
Passed away. Oh, Putin. If I depart, send a message to him, and I left. I want to meet with him, he will accept me. And if I will ask a favor that he can influence, he will probably do it. As a kind of sign of trust, and for him, for many reasons, it doesn't cost a lot. Not to let it happen. I don't want to end in a way, the way that Schroeder ended with him. Schroeder did the same. So they nominated him to be the representative of Gazprom in Germany or New York, whatever, and to be responsible for the pipe that he approved.
Right.
So, before he left. When you ask a German leading politician how about Schroeder, they almost feel uneasy. But I could find something else that I asked him if it's a favor or the kind of which he might do it.
How often you talk? When was the last time you spoke to him? Or dealt with him? 2 years?
No, a year.
Yeah.
I don't talk to him often.
So
But
what I would do,
it's something that then from the day one that he came to the Kremlin as a prime minister, he replaced a guy named Stepashin. I was already prime minister. I visited Yeltsin
right?
when Stepashin was there, and then visited them when the Putin just came in, was still kind of new. And since then we kept good relations. I visited him in Sochi, in St. Petersburg, in Moscow.
Visiting socially or business-wise?
Socially, with I visited, I told him that I'm going, I don't remember to where, probably. I don't remember. And he asked, come to Moscow. I said, okay, I come to Moscow. He said, oh no, I'm in Sochi. Please come to Sochi. I came to Sochi. We sat down with him in his palace. He proposed we will play, billiard or whatever. When he kind of, he hugs me and that reminds a story that I told him. And that there is some sense of, because I'm telling him the truth about him, and I'm talking to him very frankly.
Right.
And he, frankly, kind of someone that looks him at the eye level,
Right.
talks to him, say, I don't think that you are doing the right thing for you and for Russia, this or that. I think you should look at things, and he listens very carefully. He respects this way of direct talk. I don't think that there are anyone who really owes me something in the sense that
No, but nobody means that.
in a way, Ban Ki-moon doesn't owe me anything, but I believe that a long time he developed a kind of respect for me. I helped him to appear better in many small cases along the way. He told me bluntly that he's ready to help me the moment I see, even in his country.
So the key would be I would think about, not decided, that at some point you can say, look, I would send a note to Putin, say I'm going to leave government in March 14th. I'm going to be in Scandinavia, or I plan to be in Northern Europe. We should have dinner. That's it. No more. It has to be very short. In terms of recent military responsibility for you, how would you describe your strength now? Is it, I read is it strategy, operations, tactics? How do you think about?
In a moment, let me just write down
Putin for dinner. Or you can meet
tea or vodka.
Or you can meet somebody. Are you going to be in Paris? We should make a plan to meet sometime in the next 2 months.
I can just tell him I would like to meet with you. That's it.
Right.
He will say come.
Right, but you say nothing.
He will say come.
Right.
He loves to sit with me and talk. Always with someone, because he doesn't trust his English. He takes one of his personal kind of aids. Okay. What was the next point?
Well, the question I want to know is, in terms of your military competence.
Let me tell you, I sat down yesterday for the second time, a week earlier in Tel Aviv, with the lady who runs Lockheed Martin. And I talked to her about directions in what weighs them downstream, the risk that the F-35 is the last fighter with the pilot in it, for good reasons, and that probably many countries will not buy it, and even those who bought it might show reluctant to see a reduction in performance or climbing prices. And basically that, unlike the situation 20 years ago, the decision makers are not really looking for fighters that will win a war, because they don't believe that there will be a war with the term in the life cycle of the airplane. So they are ready to settle for something much simpler, cheaper, that still flies. And
yes.
And I talked to her about the need to balance what weights. I thought, I looked at her. She's an intelligent woman that was pushed under the circumstances into the top role. I think that no one at her leadership talks to her this way without insulting her or something like that. Much more authority, knows what is good, what happens,
followed the industry
Yes.
as the generation before, and she was just, and she's not very fat, she's almost 60, probably 57, I don't know. And with such a wide, kind, penetrating, thoughtful insights about what is going to happen, what should be the fraction of
Yes.
dependence on contracts from the Pentagon, and to what extent, what should be balanced between F-16, which they are now cost 4,500 or so, and the F-22 that ended, and the F-35 that will be I don't believe that it will become popular, but no one has the money to pay for it, except for us. You see, Canada. So do you really believe that Canadians really think that they will have to order it flying against the herds of Tupolev that crossing over the poles? And for some of the Arabs, it will become a kind of token of prestige to have the best peace, but not more. Mm-hmm. And I told her about the need to find what should be done and what's going to happen in the...
Yes.
And I thought that, I have the combination. It's not policy. I have the combination of insights into the strategic level of it, but very deep understanding, detailed understandings of everything from technology to tactics to the use and to even the fallacies. Why Boeing failed after investing probably $5 billion in future combat system for the ground forces, and how such an issue should be approached in order not to repeat mistakes. So, in a way, it can be strategic with a lot of
deep knowledge,
fingertip understanding of what's feasible, what's not feasible, what's needed, what armed forces of sophisticated countries will need in order to fight, not the previous war, the future ones as they evolve. I'm.
But could you sit on the board of Martin Marietta?
I don't know. I didn't check it. Probably not. If I did it immediately, it's a little bit bizarre.
And when the Americans,
because we all this kind of.
But when the Americans give Israel $2 billion with the requirement that 75% of it gets bought, buys American stuff, how does that actually work?
It works. We run through the operational system, the priorities there, I approve it, and I signed or order the signing of the contracts. So I think it would be a little bit strange, but in fact we had some of the general manager, former Air Force commander, the general manager of the Ministry of Defense, ended up being now a major kind of high-level consultant for Boeing, or the president of Boeing Israel, for whatever it's him and his wife, I don't know. But I just mention it as an example. Probably after a year I can do it, or probably I can do it if it's clear that I'm not going to deal in any way with Israel.
Exactly. But in terms of your defense...
look, for example, at the drones. I am the person who basically made it fly by certain